Stand beside her and got her. Oh no. Southern comic destroys MAGA racists. Interesting.
In just 9 minutes, uncover the shocking truths from
Ezra Klein kind of kills me right now, bro. He kind of kills me right now. I'm not gonna lie. I don't have any big problem with him, but really the discourse is kind of dead, bro.
Ooh, Trump is too big. No.
Nice. Who called me at 9:36 a.m., bro? Like, diversity is awesome, bro. Diversity is awesome. Here, I'll do that. I'll put that in the title. Diversity is awesome. Yay. When are we going to talk about the real reason Trump won? Because a bunch of assholes took over. Through the lens of decency politics, honestly, it really is people who are just like, kind of, their tendencies are not like, I'm kind of going by heuristics in a sense of, when you see like a poor kid, a poor kid, if you see a poor kid, what's your first reaction? That's a big part of what's happening here. And for some people, their first reaction is, you know, that kid should get help and community. We should help that kid. We need more community to help take care of that kid. And another reaction is going to be, that kid should get a damn job and work for himself, bro. That kid's a freeloader, idiot, racist. Like, that kid is evil. The kid is literally evil, bro. That's really the point. Yeah. Comic anti-MAGA world needs, apparently. There's a new comic. Where is he? I just saw the video recommended to me. I just saw a video recommended to me. I typed in the title of it.
This world is such a and when I say this world, I mean it. I don't mean in the ideal sense. I mean in every day, every little thing you do. It's such a gimme. Everybody back off. You know, everybody's like, you taught that from school, everywhere. Big business. If you want to be successful, you want to be like Trump, gimme. Push. Step. Crush. That's how it all is. And it's like, nobody ever stopped. Just, you know, I feel.
All right. So, here's one big point here. One big point we got to get down for our future conversations. Bernie AOC rallies. Yeah, I guess I would just have people call in and give them my version of the arguments, right? And see how people respond to them. So, in politics, people are not going to be political experts or policy experts. So the moral foundation they have, which I don't mean morality like a nerd would say it, but just morals in terms of, you see a poor kid and, you know, a liberal or someone on the left might say, okay, we need to give that kid help, understanding. Someone on the right might say, well, it's their parents' jobs. We don't got to help them. That kid should get a damn job. It's a level of empathy you have for other people, and just like a directional way you view the world. And Tupac here, I actually did not watch this yet. I never saw this. But I guess he talks about Donald Trump and greed in America. So my first reaction.
This world is such a and when I say this world, I mean it. I don't mean in the ideal sense. I mean in every day, every little thing you do. It's such a gimme. Everybody back off. You know, everybody's like, you taught that from school, everywhere. Big business. If you want to be successful, you want to be like Trump, gimme. Push. Step. Crush. That's how it all is. And it's like, nobody ever stopped. Just, you know, I feel like Instead of us just being like, slavery's bad, slavery's down, bad whitey, bad whitey. I mean, all right, let's stop that. And everybody's smart enough to know that, I mean, we've been slighted and we want ours. And I don't mean by like ours, 40 acres and a mule, because we passed that. But we need help. I mean, for us to be on our own 2 feet, us meaning youth or us meaning black people, whatever you want to take it for us to be on our own 2 feet, we do need help. Because we have been here. We have been a good friend. If you want to make it a relationship type thing, we have been there, and now we deserve our payback. It's like you got a friend that you don't never look out for. You know, you dressed up in jewels. Now America's got jewels, and they paid and everything, and they lending money to everybody except us. And it's like, you know, everybody need a little help on their way to being, you know, self-reliant. You know what I'm saying? That's
See, bro, this is the message we need. No more crush everything, try to step on other people, push other people away, be isolated from community. No more just like dividing the people on Earth on the basis of skin color, gender, whatever it might be, religion. More coming together. You can recognize what happened in the past without hating each other from both sides. And yeah, this is a clear point, man. I love this. I know Tupac said a lot of stuff like this, but it's a good foundation on how you should be messaging in general, to be honest.
Whole thing about the album, about the Special Olympics. Everybody need a little something, and
we're not saying not to work hard. We're saying there is a power structure in society, and the people at the top just want to, you know, crush everyone in their path to getting more money, more money, me, gimme, like Tupac says, push other people away, crush them. And if you're at the bottom, you might need a little bit more support, but don't not work hard. Keep on working hard. Definitely keep working hard, but also we need to recognize how the world actually works. Why are people in certain positions? Don't blame them. Offer a helping hand. Don't approach people with malice.
To be independent. No independent person just grew up and was born independent. You worked and you learned teamwork and you learned cooperation and unity.
And anyone who's being truthful about being successful, every single person who's successful, not only if you have like rich parents or if you have rich friends, but also somewhere along the line, if you're successful, someone somewhere gave you a lucky break. And if someone didn't give you a lucky break, then YouTube came along, someone else built a platform that you can use. And if that didn't happen, people shared your videos, people shared your platform, people supported your business, people gave you an opportunity. Somewhere along the way, you got lucky. It's okay to say we can both work hard and also get lucky. Those are two things that can exist in the same world.
And struggle, and then you became independent.
Yep.
And we have to teach that and instill that. And why is it that they want to do that? I mean, if this is truly a melting pot in the country where we care about it, and Lady Liberty got a hand like this, she really loves us, then we really need to be like that. And it needs to be the black kids. If there's a white person who got money, then he need to help him. He need to help black kids, Mexican kids, Korean kids, whatever. But it needs to be real. And it need to be before we all die, and then you say, oh, I made a mistake. We should have gave them some money. We really should have helped these folks. It's going to be too late. You know what I'm saying? And then that's when you got to pay your own karma. And that's when God make you punish. When God punishes you. Because I feel like, you know, it's too much money here. I mean, nobody should be hitting lotto for $36 million and we got people starving in the streets. That is not idealistic. That's just real. That is
very basic, bro. Very basic. You don't got to be too wordy about it. It's messed up. We got people competing for dumbass awards and lotteries and Powerballs, going on reality television, embarrassing themselves for a chance at winning money, talking about they want to help their kids try to find treatment for cancer and a bunch of other illnesses, and helping kids get food and be able to have proper schooling. That should not be things we're having on some type of lottery. We should have cut that shit out right away. Gambling in general, like, I mean, at a societal level, at a state level, a governmental level, why does the government use gambling, to provide basic services to people? Like, why are we at the bottom working our asses off, and now we have to, wager the money we get, working for shit wages, for the hopes of one person winning? And when that one person wins, that's not helping no one. That's not helping anyone.
It's just stupid. There's no way Michael Jackson should have, or whoever Jackson, should have $1 million, $1 billion, and then there's people starving. There's no...
Well, didn't Tupac also say the world was going to open up and take all the rich people? He said something like that, right? That's a quote from... I think that's a quote Tupac said. Did he say that?
Wait. There's no way that these people should own planes and their people don't have houses, apartments, shacks, drawers.
All the super yachts, bro. The working class in America siding with all the super yacht guys that have all these big ass yachts worth more than 1,000 lifetimes of your work, and you're gonna celebrate them because they tell you to be mad at black people, mad at DEI. We know what DEI means. Mad at gay people, mad at trans people. And they'll be on a yacht partying, profiting from your data when you buy a product from their advertisements and you vote for their candidate who's going to deregulate their taxes and lower their taxes and deregulate their companies so they can screw more people over.
Pants.
You say to people that say, well, they earned it. Now you go out and you're earning it.
And the interviewer is asking, what about people that say they earned it?
Pants.
You say to people that say, well, they earned it. Now you go out and you're earning it.
If they earned it, then I think that that's good, and I think that they deserve it. But even if you earned it, you still owe. Because look at me, I don't have that.
I love that, bro. I gotta write this down. Even if you earned it, you still owe. The system, the society, the communities that allowed you to be successful, that gave you the platform or the opportunity to be successful. None of us exist in a vacuum. None of us exist not being affected by those around us. So all of us, if we're successful, every person before us led to that. Every person around us led to that in one way or another. I like that a lot. Even if you earned it, you still owe.
Mega money, but I feel guilty walking by somebody.
Bro, you know what's funny though? It really is about empathy. It's about how you feel about seeing another person. If you approach conversations with malice, if you approach it with selfishness and isolation, and I guarantee you, I'm not against Christianity at all, or any religion really, but I guarantee you in America, Christians are far more likely, especially in the Republican Party. Many Christians will say that, what's mine is mine. I'm gonna keep it. I earned it. They won't even thank God for it. They won't even appreciate God's earth. They're gonna say, drill for more oil, bro. Drill for more oil so I could play more Flappy Bird on my phone and make it to the casino and so I could gamble on DraftKings and FanDuel while I'm watching NFL. Like,
because look at me, I don't have that mega money, but I feel guilty walking by somebody. I got to give them some mail. And if I know I got $3,000 in my pocket, I feel like it's wrong to give that person a quarter.
Yeah, bro, that's like, it's how when people say like Elon Musk is a good guy, he's just doing it for us. No, they're addicted to money, bro. They're addicted to money. There's a reason he's up there trying to cut benefits from the poorest among us. They're addicted to money, bro. They're addicted to money. The fact they even have that much money shows they have something wrong with them, honestly.
For $1, it's wrong. Only you know what you got in your pocket, and that's wrong. No matter what they do, if they take it and drink it, they take it and drink it. But I mean, you got. You understand? And we all know how hard it is, and it's not about if you good or you bad. So since it's not about if you good or you bad, we know that because he don't mean he was bad, or don't mean he's a criminal, or don't mean he's crazy, or a drug addict, or none of that. It just means he don't got. And ain't it bad that you got 30? I mean, can you imagine somebody having $32 million
and still wanting more, bro?
$32 million
and still complaining?
And this person has nothing?
But bro, the rich took all the risk. They took all the risk, bro. It's super risky. They leverage their capital in risky markets. So no.
And you can sleep?
I hate that argument, bro. I hate that people call into my show saying that shit, bro. They leverage that they risk all their money in the risky markets, but yeah, they're risking their money in financial markets, and they'll be fine if they fail. But for real people, you have kids, you have family. If you mess up once, you're done. If you want to be an entrepreneur and you're poor, you're done if you mess up once. You get one shot, maybe one. You're lucky if you get one shot. If you're rich kids, you get like 50,000. You get unlimited shots, and you're guaranteed success already. I can't stand people from the working class calling in like they earned it. Elon Musk is a superhero. Like, name one thing the guy invented. He does the rockets. No, he doesn't. He just tries to take money from poor kids. Okay, I'll take calls in a second. I do a call-in show on YouTube. If you watch this back on YouTube, I go live around 9 p.m. Eastern time most nights. Please drop a like, comment, and subscribe. I will take phone calls.
You can still go to the movies about. These are the type of people that get humanitarian awards. Millionaires. How can they be humanitarians by the fact that they millionaires and there's so many poor people shows how unhumane they are?
That's one of the big things too. Philanthropy actually started off when you say you're going to be philanthropic and be like, I'm going to give money to the people around the world. It's really a way for us to kiss rich people's asses to boost their public persona. That's how it started. That's how it's been. But now the current billionaires want to be respected because they're billionaires. They want us to view them as gods now, the billionaires. But yeah, that's crazy too. Yeah, they get all the Nobel Peace Prizes and all these big awards. Thank you, Bill Gates, for buying things. We should be doing this as a society. We should not need a billionaire to put that money around.
You know what I'm saying? And
Now we gotta kiss your ass.
Not saying that when I'm never gonna be rich, and you know what I'm saying, but I'm saying it's a struggle, and I think everybody deserves. And I think there's a way to pay these people. I think there is a way. It just takes to be revolutionary, and it takes to do something out of the ordinary. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that if we just said, okay, I got an idea. No more porno buildings. You know what I'm saying? Let's build houses. Or no more polo games. Let's build houses for poor people. You know what I'm saying? Or, look, okay, I know you're rich. I know you got $40 billion, but can you just keep it to one house? You only need one house. And if you only got 2 kids, can you just keep it to 2 rooms? I mean, why have 52 rooms and you know there's somebody with no room? It just don't make sense to me.
Yeah, bro, the suburbs, you'll have a lot of rooms empty in these houses. Rooms that don't have anything in them. I need to borrow this if I run for some type of office, bro. I need to borrow this. Like, this language is what you need. We need to shift the moral underpinnings of our current culture and society. And then the policy will follow.
It don't. And then these people celebrate Christmas. They got big trees, huge trees.
Bro, I hate when people post their Christmas trees on with all the gifts under it on social media. You just make all the poor kids feel like shit. Look at all the gifts I got my kiddo. Like, great. Thank you for showing all the other kids that God and Santa don't like them.
All the little trimmings. Everybody got gifts, and then somebody's starving. And they're having a white Christmas. They're having a great Christmas, eggnog and the whole 9. That's not fair to me.
It's really cool how most black celebrities, especially that many white people like, the white people that say, like, they hear Snoop Dogg, like, yeah, this is that real rap from back in the day. I used to listen to NWA and Snoop Dogg and LL Cool J. Mama used to knock you out. I love rap, dude. The new rap is just all about, like, it's crazy they say new rap's about violence and, like, crazy. They just can't understand the new rap, to be honest. They cannot understand it. But anyway, it's funny how a lot of these black celebrities, most of them are like revolutionaries. And even Martin Luther King Jr. being revolutionary and being completely whitewashed from, what he actually said with the way that America remembers him. Yeah, but we need some of this language now. I mean, that's what we need our society to believe in. Just do stuff for other people. Less selfishness, less materialism. Care about the world. Right now we're going completely backwards in every way. Speaking the truth. Yeah, this is Tupac. Please drop a like, subscribe. Hit subscribe, drop a like, all that kind of stuff. You know where to donate if you want to donate. Jolah Politics. I'm going to take phone calls now. Thank you for joining me. Drop a like. Share this on any subreddits you're on it or any Facebook pages. Share it to your family members if you have any family or friends. Have them join the channel.
Call from
Join us in the comment section. Hello?
Hi.
What's up?
I just seen your YouTube channel, scrolling through the YouTube shorts.
Yeah, man, what do you want to talk about?
Oh, I was just talking. So why don't you like Trump?
He wants to go to war with Canada, bro.
Because they've been ripping us off for years, and we don't need any of their stuff.
Yeah, how old are you? What grade are you in?
What?
What grade are you in?
I'm actually graduated.
Sure.
What do you mean by like that?
So graduated from like middle school?
No, high school.
Oh, cool. Sure. So yeah, what's your favorite what's your favorite policy? Like what's your favorite thing in politics? Like are you a big politics viewer? Do you watch a lot of politics?
Yep.
Who do you watch?
Oh, I watch Fox News, I watch MSNBC, I watch independent groups, podcasts, all of the above.
Independent groups, like what?
Depends on the day. I've been watching you.
You watch Tim Pool?
What?
You watch Tim Pool?
No, I don't know who he is.
Are you the same kid that usually calls in?
The same kid who what?
Usually calls in.
What does that mean?
Are you the same kid?
Same kid who what?
Are you
I've
the
never
kid that
called
usually
him
calls
before.
in? Okay, you never did.
No.
Okay. So like, I have a question. So, in society right now, do you think the super rich people have too much money?
No, because they've worked their tails off to make the money. So like, let them have the money, let them spend it, let them do whatever they want with it, because they worked to that point.
So how do you define work? So like, if someone works in a coal mine and they're dirt poor, are they not working hard?
No, they're working hard. They're just not earning probably not as much money, or they're not making smart financial decisions.
Okay, so like just by wages, what wages are considered? I would say in my life, the hardest jobs I had were working maintenance, or being a delivery driver, or working in like a fast food place. It's probably the hardest jobs I've had, just because it's stressful. You get paid like shit. You have no chances for going up at all. But the thing is, when you're a business owner, you make money from other people's work, so you don't really do much once you own a lot of things. Especially because most business owners, a lot of them, were born into wealth, so they didn't really work for it. They kind of moved money around, got lucky in the stock market, gambled a little bit, and now they were able to, grow big companies. Which you could say it's a skill for sure. In my opinion, though, that doesn't mean they should be able to own society. They should not be able to own the government. So I think at a certain point, we should probably tax them a little bit more, or at least break up their company so they can't control the entire world, so we can give a better chance for working people to also be, entrepreneurs, to also support their families, to also be able to work and provide and have healthcare without going completely insane.
So, how do you who do you think has done that then? How you think somebody has a lot of money and they're controlling the world? Like, give me an example. Are you going to say Elon?
Well, that is a perfect example. He spends a lot of money.
Okay.
He tries to pay voters directly, and now he's basically co-president. But also, just in general, we could look at Bezos, Zuckerberg, every rich person. They spend their money. They support certain politicians who then give them favors in government, and government is supposed to be against, or at least be separate from private companies, because government is supposed to protect the American people from corrupt companies. If you have a chance to look back, look up Teddy Roosevelt. He was a Republican in the early 1900s, and he came in at a time where it was called the Gilded Age. I know they call it the Golden Age now, but it was called the Gilded Age, or Gilded Age. Teddy Roosevelt, he talked about how we needed to break up the big companies because they were killing all competition. They owned everything. They had child labor. The factories were disgusting where they produced our food. So look up Teddy Roosevelt and look at trust busting and monopoly busting, and look at the values that he had back then. That'd be my biggest recommendation.
Okay. So, question. So, do you buy off Amazon?
Do I do what?
Do you buy things off Amazon, or do you?
I try not to if I can.
Okay, so have you ever bought off Tesla? I mean, off of Amazon?
Have I ever bought a Tesla off of Amazon?
No, sorry, I was thinking about Elon, but I don't think you've ever bought a Tesla, so I was thinking Amazon.
I have used Amazon before.
Okay, so you're supporting people who have made a business, and you started out with college books, and he was probably dirt poor, but then he grew, he came over time, and now he's worth billions of dollars. That's just, why would you want to tax somebody who's worked hard?
It's about corruption. It's about freedom. It's about not having power concentrated, or like it's about one person having too much power. We never want one person to have too much power. Even if you do a good job, he's worth what, $250 billion? Yeah, definitely.
Why?
I think we should have power separated between more people, not concentrated in one area. So like Jeff Bezos, because we're talking about him really quick, he's worth $250 billion, and he has so many companies. You can argue Amazon is, a monopoly in many areas. They own a lot of different companies. If you're very successful, that's really cool, but I don't think you need to have 5 million times more money than the average person. I don't think you need to make, I think, how many $1 million do you think Jeff Bezos makes per day? I just feel like at a certain level, it's a freedom thing, because you can't spend that much money.
So you think people who are just going to sit at home and do nothing and they're not getting taxed hard, for the people who are working hard, we should just hand them our paychecks, hand them our money, and just say, oh, it's okay, we feel bad for you, you're dirt poor. Like you were talking about how kids who take pictures under the Christmas tree with kids who don't get presents. That's so sad, but some people need to, people who are, let's say down by our local Walmart, they're asking for money. I get it, but you can go and get a job. Like there's a McDonald's down the road. there's a whole bunch of new opportunities that they can do to have.
I wouldn't
make
consider
money.
McDonald's an opportunity, though. That's really bad wages, bad working conditions. You can't raise a family on McDonald's. You can't afford an apartment on McDonald's. You can't
Well, I
get
know,
health
but
care.
you can.
So we're talking about just
can work
basic
up.
things so someone can live. So someone can live a life and have
Can-
basic necessities
you
like
not-
health care, food, and housing. I'm not talking about like
Well,
Christmas
yeah.
presents. I'm saying we should have basic
Well,
basic support. And there's a lot of working people right now, by the way, who don't have health care. They don't have health care. They get paid shit wages, and their employer treats them like shit. And we should be protecting those people and
the
helping
weird
them.
thing is, though, is I like how the Biden administration, how they're all worried about people taxing the wealthy and not taxing. They're giving the money to the people who are dirt poor. But the weird thing is when you're giving them money, what happens to our grocery prices? Like they didn't do anything about that, so everything went up. So like that just doesn't. You're making one thing better and then making one thing worse. Trump's trying to fix that, even though we're on the edge of a recession. I think that's kind of a sketchy decision. But if maybe he could be a little more tolerant instead of taxing Canada. But we need to bring all that money in, and that brings in new economic growth. And then yeah, like with the Department of Education, like just it made me sick figuring out how much money they took from our teachers, and our teachers didn't even know about that. Basically, the Democrats were
what do you
using
mean money they took from our
propaganda.
teachers?
Yeah. So the Department of Education, they were taking money and they were using it for not even like climate change places in like Nepal, like not even a country I can even pronounce, or like teaching education in different countries around the world.
So there's
Isn't that
no
weird?
evidence the Department of Education was taking money from any teachers. Their job is to basically handle like student loans and giving grants out to colleges or to high schools that are in impoverished areas, like poor areas. But they don't do anything with curriculum or.
Sorry, go ahead. Don't want to interrupt you.
No, but like Department of Education doesn't do anything when it comes to curriculum or when it comes to like moving funds around. They just follow a very specific set of things. They actually are not that exciting at all.
What do you mean by that? Like, did you support the Department of Education?
Yeah.
Give me a couple, or just give me one reason why the Department of Education is better than not having one.
Because for poor schools in America, if you live in a poor area, the public school is very underfunded and kids have worse outcomes. The teachers get paid worse. The teachers have a lot of kids in one classroom they can't handle. The Department of Education helped spread funding out, and it helped give grants to poor schools to make sure there were more fair opportunities for poor kids if they do work hard to be able to go through school and be educated and eventually find a job. They also help fund those who might have accessibility requirements. So, for example, someone with a disability, can now go to public school, and if they have accommodations they need, it can also help with that. But yeah, it's in terms of like the federal Department of Education, they just handled funds pretty much. And there were like broad policies, but the states themselves handle most of what they actually teach in schools
So
and
are
actual
you
policy.
scared that since we just demolished the Department of Education, that our test scores, everything is going to go down the drain, or do you think it's going to stay? It's going to get better? Just yes or no.
It'll get worse.
Okay, so I don't think it can get worse because the U.S. puts the most money into our education, and which is a waste of tax money. And it says here the U.S. ranks behind many other developed nations. Developed. Isn't that crazy that once we destroy the Department of Education, that if the money all that money we're going to save, we can look and see like our test scores will go up because you're going to look at it and be like, oh, that's weird, because all the red counties, if you look at it, all the red counties have a higher test percentage score than even bigger blue counties.
That's not true. Republican areas have far lower test scores, and Republican states have lower test scores than blue states.
Where's the proof?
I could look up the numbers on literacy, for example. Red states have much lower literacy rates.
So the Department of Education, our budget, they spend probably about $79 billion a year. Okay, $79 billion. Where that money is probably going, it's not doing any good. How is it doing any good if our education system sucks?
Because the education itself is set state by state. So like blue states have better education because the
Okay.
states run education. The Department of
So then
Education just
why are
helped get poor areas more funding to help it be more equal. But
so why
now,
are the
since
why
it's gone, poor areas are going to suffer more. Like poor areas are going to be shit out of luck. And if your child needs excessive, like if your child has a disability, the child's also shit out of luck. If they actually did kill it, but they did not really kill it. So like Congress would need to sign a law, to get rid of it. The president can't just do that. It's not within their constitutional power to just get rid of it.
okay, so I was gonna say, so the money that we're spending on for these poor cities, if the Democrats, if they're so sad and butthurt about the targeted education getting abolished or soon to be abolished, then why are they so sad about it? Then that they can get the money and distribute it to the poor people instead of having it go through three. It's just gonna go straight to them. Why? And there's probably gonna be more
It's not
money.
going straight to them. The taxes did not change at the federal level, so now we're going to be paying the same amount of federal taxes in, but we're going to be getting back less from the federal government actually. So there's no proof the states are getting the funding back, that they're going to be losing through this.
Well, I just think that if you take targeted education out, then you're gonna get all that money go to the different
Oh,
states.
and also the U.S. spends more money on average than other countries because we have a lot more private education, and our families pay. We have a lot more private schools in America versus those countries. Those countries actually are more top down with the government. So the states that rank up, or the countries that rank above the U.S. have more big government in education, far more big government, far more national standards. They're far more controlling with the government. To make sure that schools are more equitably funded, to make sure there's no schools that are just like, completely drained of resources or schools that have too many. So that's one of the reasons why Canada and Europe will have higher test scores, more equal access, and it'll be, even the college in Europe is largely subsidized or free versus in America where it costs tons of money.
Okay, so one thing though. So do you think this is just a theory? But I was thinking, you know how like we're gonna ban, or it is banned, pride flags out of our classrooms, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they should belong in our classrooms?
I don't see a problem with it.
Why? You don't think that our
Because
national flag, our one national flag that if people are all complaining about, that they can just, like Taylor Swift, all of these big celebrities, they didn't want to, they said if Trump was elected, they're going to leave. Why aren't they leaving?
Because I don't know. I don't know what those individual
They were
celebrities
just,
said. I don't really care about
weren't they
celebrities
just,
though. I'm not a Trump
okay,
voter.
good.
I don't care about celebrities' opinions. I would not vote for a celebrity for president, for example. But like the pride flags in schools, like there are states that are banning pride flags, and you're still allowed to have a Nazi flag in school. Even from a historical perspective, teaching about issues that have to do with
You're
gay
not allowed
people
to
is
have
completely fine.
No. Gay people don't belong. They don't. I'm sorry to tell you, they don't.
Hell yeah, good job, buddy.
There,
Where do you get that opinion from?
there's two genders. Okay, and guess what they are?
Well,
Guess what they are?
gay. You could be gay with two genders, by the way, because you can still be a man and like men. So genders are not the
Yeah.
same as gay.
Okay, well, okay, no, like trans guys, trans lesbians.
So are you okay with people being gay?
Yeah, I think yeah, sure. I guess that I made that point kind of wrong, but yeah, I think people
Okay.
can. And
If you are
I think
gay
people,
and you're watching this,
I think,
he approves of you being gay. You're allowed to.
I think people who like express they're gay, or like people during Black Lives Matter expressed all this, they don't belong. But if you're like if you're not expressing it, I feel like that's fine. Like if you're just gonna live, like if you want to, like you're
Oh,
promoting
so you
peace,
could be gay,
right?
but you can't tell anyone. You can't tell anyone that you're gay.
No, like not like go and protest. Like we don't need that. Like throwing over cop cars, burning an American flag. I don't think we need that.
Wait. Calm down for a second. I'm talking about just normal ass people. They're normal people in our communities who happen to be gay.
Yeah.
They're normal people. Like Fox News does not show you what you like. I want you to go outside and talk to people.
No,
Like don't look at Fox News for this
they
stuff.
belong.
They do
100%
belong?
they belong. Sure. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Do you think they belong?
Yes, I think gay and trans people both belong.
No, I don't think trans people. God gave them a body and they destroyed it. Isn't that sad?
Would you also be in favor of banning tattoos and plastic surgery and like dental work and braces?
No, actually.
You would? Okay, would you be in favor of banning any medical procedure that alters your body?
No,
Why?
I think that why would you want to ban that? That's like
Because why would you ruin the body God gave you, bro?
that's not ruining it. That's that's fixing it. Braces, making
Yeah,
it
for trans
better.
people, it's fixing it for them too. It's fixing it for them. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but like trans people, we don't need them like.
I mean, by your logic, we should ban every medical procedure that touches the human body at all, because God gave you a body. So if you have cancer, you got to keep the tumor in there, because God made everyone perfect. If God made you perfect, because honestly, getting rid of the tumor inside you is admitting God did not make you perfect, I think.
I didn't say that. If that God made us all perfect, we all have disabilities, and that's beautiful.
We all have disabilities. Okay.
Yeah. We all have our cons and pros. That's what makes us beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah.
I support trans people.
Okay. That's
Because
probably
trans
one of
people
your
are
disabilities.
people. They're normal.
That's probably one of your disabilities.
Yeah, I guess so. If being a mature adult that can be, understanding of people that I talk to and interact with in real life instead of just watching Fox News like a brainless toddler, then yeah, I do have a disability. Thank you.
I don't just watch Fox News, but what's wrong with Fox News?
Congrats. Yeah. Do you want to end on any point? You want a final statement for the chat? Yeah. What do you want chat to know? What do you want everyone to know here? All right, you were cutting.
I don't know.
Okay.
Just thanks for having me on.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night, man. I love the kids. The kids are in a great place. Oh, God. See, it's sad because like that kid's views are not fully formed at all. I mean, even within the conversation, he's like triple guessing himself. Like, gay people don't belong. I mean, they do belong, but they don't. And it's like you should never alter the body God gave you. Oh, so like if you have cancer, you can't like fix it? But no, like that's not what I mean. Oh crap! I just called 2 people. Hello?
Hello?
Wait a second. I'm not doing that. Hello.
Hello, how's it going?
Going all right. How are you?
Doing all right. What do you want to talk about, man?
I want to talk about whatever you want to talk about. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about Ukraine.
Ukraine. Thank you, Jeremy, for becoming a supporter tier. Thank you so much, Jeremy. YouTube memberships are $3 in YouTube. $3. I made it cheap enough for the Jolah Talks to grow. So yeah, thank you, Jeremy, for the supporter tier membership. Please drop a like on the stream, subscribe. If you want to donate to Jolah Politics on Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal, that's very appreciated, or on the coffee link that you can see. But yeah, thank you guys. Okay, you want to talk about Ukraine? What about Ukraine?
Or we can talk about trans kids, whatever you want, dude.
I'd rather talk about DEI.
DEI, let's do that.
I love DEI.
Okay, me too. Should I DEI
okay,
is not a good...
pick a topic. Pick Ukraine or DEI, whichever one you want to talk about.
Let's do DEI, dude. DEI is great.
Awesome. You go ahead.
What's your defense of DEI?
DEI provides for equal opportunity employment opportunities for all people, regardless of race, gender, skin color, sex, whatever it might be. It's equal opportunity.
Define equal.
If you're hiring for a job, you give the applications to all communities equally. So everyone has an equal opportunity to apply for the job, and so people that have merit from underserved communities can have a chance to get a job. So a good DEI example would be like Jackie Robinson.
Hold on a second, but is that what DEI is today?
Yeah, it still is.
Is it? So if you have 2 people, a white person and a black person, they have very similar scores on everything. You have the same people who applied for it. Very similar. The white guy has one thing a little better. The black guy gets the job because he's black. That's equal, and that's merit.
That would not be DEI.
That is exactly what DEI is, and that's what's happened with our
Nope, that is not
force.
DEI. That'd be like affirmative action or quotas.
Well, okay.
That's not DEI.
Define equity.
Equity, for example, would be Okay, and you could take skin color out of it. This kid is a poor kid from a really shitty area, okay, with gang violence, and he barely has a public school. The public school has no funding. This kid got 1100 on his SAT, all right? And then there's another kid, doesn't matter what skin color. This person is from a rich school. His parents paid $50,000 for SAT tutors, and he's at a super well-funded private school, paying tuition, and he got a 1300 on his SAT. And you're going to be accepting them into college. You have one more spot left. You might say, from equity perspectives, you have a more holistic application. You might want to do like an essay, maybe have an interview with them versus going just off their SAT scores or GPA. Like, okay, maybe the person from the poor area had to fight through a lot more to get their 1100, which might be way more impressive, especially in my experience. My experience has shown this to be 100% true. That rich kid that has a lot of SAT tutoring might not be nearly as good of a student as that kid that had to fight for everything in his entire life. So equity would mean I'm going to look at both of these situations and realize, okay, if we only have rich kids at this school, you might want to allow more poor kids into the school. Or if we have only white kids in the school, you might want to look at, okay, why are there no black kids in the school? Is it because there's no black kids who are able to be in the school, or are there other systemic reasons why we're not looking in these communities, or why the test scores might be lower?
And so you're saying that this is what happens in colleges. They just look at more black kids and let them in. They don't.
No. Okay, that would be affirmative action with colleges. That's affirmative action. That's not DEI.
Okay,
DEI is not affirmative action.
What is in practice when we're talking about DEI? So you can give a definition of DEI that is not currently being implemented, but what is being implemented and called DEI is affirmative action.
No, even after affirmative action was struck down, okay, when California had no more affirmative action, and when the Supreme Court decided that, there were still DEI offices. They still did DEI even after affirmative action was gone.
Okay, so are you telling me that in colleges currently, Asian kids do not need to have higher scores than black kids or Hispanic kids? White kids do not need to have higher scores than black kids or Hispanic kids. Are you saying that is not the case currently?
I'm saying due to the court ruling, they no longer have affirmative action.
That's not what I'm saying. Is that currently what happens in colleges?
Not anymore because of the court case, which does matter, that killed affirmative action. That'd be affirmative action that you're saying.
Okay, so you're saying that within the last 5 years, that is not how colleges have handled their admissions.
Well, before the legal case that made it illegal, yeah.
So you're talking about the one that was like 6 months ago?
I'm talking about in America, DEI exists without affirmative action because they're different things.
Okay. Well, they're not different things.
They are explicitly different things. I literally studied this in college. They are very different things. I work with offices in colleges that do admissions. I know these are different freaking things because I work with it hands-on, bro.
So
they're very different things.
That within the last 5 years, they have not had different test scores for different
They
races.
have done that, but I told you what the rationale is behind that. Is it perfect?
Okay.
Do I agree with affirmative action? No.
That is not DEI.
That is not DEI. It's a different thing. But the rationale I gave before, if you have a poor kid, okay, a poor kid from a shitty area has to survive violence and no schooling, he gets a decent test score. But someone that's from a rich area that has $50,000 in SAT tutoring and has a nanny when they're growing up, that person with a higher test score might not be as valuable as a student. So we want to open our horizons to allow some working class kids a chance to go to nice colleges. That's the whole point of that.
DEI as something different than it is in practice. I get that.
That's not what it is in practice. You are just making up your own definitions. DEI is like equal opportunity employment. Yo, brother, you know DEI includes like poor rural whites too. It includes veterans.
Okay.
It includes disabled. Like you realize that.
Yeah, but also includes different test scores for people of different skin color.
That's affirmative action. You are saying things that are not true.
But you're saying affirmative action was struck down. Are you talking about 6 months ago when it was struck down? Or are you talking about 20 years ago when it was struck down? Because within the last 5 years, DEI has definitely been
the case that made California. You know what California did when affirmative action was no longer an option?
Yeah, they started looking at smaller details to like in their essays about how
they went to ban legacy admissions because that is another way to help discrimination in society is to ban legacy admissions because you don't just get in because you have money or connections.
I'm sure they did a ton of things.
So part of DEI is just equal opportunity.
We have not gone back to this. You're saying that DEI is not affirmative action, but affirmative action was struck down 20 years ago, but you're saying that DEI or that affirmative action-like practices have taken place in the last 5 years in colleges under the pretext of DEI, but that's not how you define it.
Colleges still had DEI after affirmative action was struck down.
Yeah, and it was affirmative action. They just called it DEI. Because you're
It was still
defining
affirmative
DEI
action.
as something that is different in your definition than it is in practice. In practice, DEI is affirmative action. In your definition, it might not be.
No, it's not. That's
But
not
it
what
is.
it is in practice. That's an extension built off of those concepts, but it's
Okay.
not DEI. So legally speaking, at the federal level, when Trump rescinds orders from the civil rights movement that says equal opportunity employment is a must, you cannot discriminate based on race. That is a DEI.
No, I know that's not DEI, but you guys are saying
That is legitimately DEI. That is DEI.
in order. No, what? Not discriminating based on race is not DEI. DEI is the exact opposite of that. It is.
No, it
discriminating
isn't.
based-
You are wrong about your
That's what you
definitions.
talk
That is not what it
Then
is.
why are we talking about DEI at all? Because 80
So
years ago.
what do you say DEI is discrimination based on class?
I would say that that's irrelevant to the conversation that the country.
No, it's
is
not
having.
irrelevant because DEI only like 10% goes to like race issues. The rest of it is veterans and class issues. Like doesn't
Okay,
by,
well,
and
how is
disabilities.
that-
That's
how-
by far the most of DEI.
Okay. Dude, that is ridiculous. Like,
I'm sorry you don't. I'm
if
sorry
we
the
have a
facts offend you,
merit-based
dumbass. I'm sorry the facts offend you, your little
Oh,
dumbass brain that can't
you're
comprehend
calling me
facts.
names
But these are the
now,
actual
dude.
facts, and you can make a loud noise to be
You're
like, "This guy's
okay.
offended," but no, you
I've
don't understand
owned
the
you
facts
on
of the
this,
world.
and you just
Now
called
tell
me
me,
a
tell me,
dumbass.
tell me what you think DEI actually was in 1960. How is that different from DEI now?
I'm saying that we have a merit-based system which removes race from everything, removes class from everything. That is not equity. Equity is the end result is the same for all of these different groups.
Equity is equal opportunity. That's equal opportunity.
No,
that's
no.
not outcomes.
Equality is
Equality
equal
of outcome is different. Equity just means that you're going to take into account different scenarios. So, for example, equality.
Equality is
So
that
equality would be,
equity
for
is-
example, you give applications for a job to poor and rich areas. That's equality. But equity would say, okay, this poor kid fought through a lot of shit. We might want to give them a chance over the rich kid that's a snotty asshole every once in a while.
Yeah, it's the end result. You are trying to make the end the same for every group.
It's not the end
Regardless
result. It's
of merit.
equal opportunity. It means we're going to start at the same
No,
place in the
equal
race. It means if a kid
equality.
and I went to school with
opportunity is
billionaires, by the way.
equality.
I went to school with literal billionaires. It means that I get a chance to go to the same college, even though all the billionaires can buy their ways in. That's
So
what
every
equity
time you're
means.
defining equity, you're saying equality, but equity and equality are two different things.
No, I'm telling you the real definitions. I work with this stuff very intimately. You sound like a. I mean, I know you sound great to like Trump supporters, but you sound dumb when it comes to the actual words. Equity means we are starting from the same place in the race. So in a 100-yard dash, if I'm starting at the 150 meters and someone's starting at 110 meters, it means we're both going to start at the same place in the race, like in a college.
No, dude.
That's what equity means.
Equity is that a dude with a broken leg who can only run 5 feet starts at the beat. Like they start the race at the same time so they can both cross the finish line together. Equality is we both start at the
No, objectively, that's not what it is. Equality is being able to run the race. Equality is being able to run the race. But equity means you're going to be starting at somewhat of a fair position. Equity is the true fairness. Equity is true meritocracy by definition.
Okay, so then why do you need equity if we have equality?
Because if you're a poor kid from a poor area, you're going to inherently have less access to things like schooling than someone from a rich area. So if we want to have someone in college, and we want working class people to have a chance to come to college, even if their parents are poor and if they grow up around with shit education around violence, then we might give them an opportunity to show that they are able to be holistic students through interviews, through essays, other methods to decide if they're going to be good in college, other than just test scores. Versus the ultra rich people who have okay. If you don't understand the difference between growing up in a rich family versus a poor family, then you're completely out of touch.
Well, dude, you grew up in a rich family. I grew up in a poor family.
I grew up in a dirt poor family, asshole. I grew up in a dirt poor family. Yeah, I grew up in a very poor family. You can't say that with this. I'm sorry. I know the big boy words. You could pick up a Google too. We all have the internet.
Billionaire liberals. Like that's the most like.
Yeah, because I was there on a fucking DEI program, dumbass. I was there because I was a poor rural white, and I got in. I had a chance to compete with these kids because I had a chance to actually get in. I had a chance to actually get in and compete with them, and I'm way smarter than their asses are. But they had better SAT scores because they had nannies and a lot of funding, so they could pay for SAT tutoring. So I'm an example of DEI because I had a chance to go to the same schools and I excelled. I beat them. I beat their asses, but they started off in better position because they had rich parents. That's not how the world should work. That's not meritocracy. You should not have a chance to be successful just because you have a rich parent. It should be for every kid to have the same chance regardless of background, based on merit.
Keep talking. So why wouldn't merit just include I'm a poor kid who had to work my way up? That is merit. That is included.
Okay, no,
equality.
okay.
That is not included in equity. Equity is we're giving extra points to people.
No, it's not extra points. It's not extra points. It's
literally is extra points, dude. Like when people are getting hired to be airline pilots and qualified airline pilots are getting.
Are you stupid? Do you really think they hire unqualified airline pilots? Do you follow Charlie Kirk? You follow Charlie Kirk, don't you?
Hey, I'm not saying unqualified. I'm saying less qualified.
Oh, bro, I guarantee you that does not happen.
Less qualified.
If anything, the black pilots are probably more qualified. There's actually a better chance the black pilots are more qualified because they had to work through more things to get to that place on average.
Okay, so you're saying black pilots are more qualified because of the color?
Yeah, in most professional areas, if there's a black person in a very high position, they usually work their ass off to get there because, like right now, for example.
Yeah, I agree, which is why we always loved seeing black people as pilots 10 years ago, but now that's not the case. Now it's
Nothing changed. Nothing changed. That's why we call you racist, because you're denying basic reality to keep your perceived notions alive.
What was it? American Airlines. They were giving the test answers to minorities. There's a huge lawsuit going on right now about this because they were trying to meet equity quotas. Do you know what an equity quota is?
Quotas are not legal.
Oh, well, they have them everywhere. They've had them for the last 5 years.
I can't find. Okay, where's the story? Where's the story at? Where's the story at? Where's the story?
Oh, maybe it's not American Airlines, but I'll try it.
Where's the story? I'm trying to see. I'm trying to see.
Go ahead and talk, dude, and I will look it up.
Okay, yeah. Find me the article where they are giving test scores to black people so we can hire unqualified pilots.
Yeah, 1 second.
See, this is why we call you racist, because you're assuming that if a pilot is gonna be black, it's because they got some type of like free pass. That's where the racism comes in. And I'm explaining I'm explaining what the actual words mean to you, but you won't accept the actual definitions of equity, equality.
Here we go.
Wild.
Here we go. DEI activist shares air controller exam answers with minority candidates.
Okay, where's the story at?
Well, I can tell you that it was National Black Coalition of the Federal Aviation Employees, Shelton Snow.
Shelton?
No. So, I'm sorry, dude. You can call me racist all you want. I really don't give a shit, but your equity bullshit is saying that black people are less qualified and less able to do things, so we need to give them a leg up. I would define that as racist, and I would say you are the racist.
We are not giving a benefit to black people to make sure they are successful when they are not deserving of it. That is not happening.
Right here, we have the colleges who are like needing lower test scores for people based on their skin color.
I told you how that works. They do it for poor white kids too. It's not based on skin color. It's for poor white kids too. It's for whites too. It's for whites too. It's for any minority group. It's for any minority group or any underprivileged group or any underserved group. It's for white kids too. White kids get this too. Veterans get this too. By the way, veterans get this too. Veterans are DEI. Veterans are DEI. Those with disabilities are DEI as well. So do you hate poor white kids? Do you hate veterans? Do you hate those who have disabilities? You don't want them to have equal access, not equal opportunities?
Look, dude, my dad's Hispanic, and when I went to college,
I don't care what your dad is. Why would I care? I don't do DEI here, dude. He doesn't get bonus points for that. Like, chill.
Get into college easier. I put it on my application for college because it meant I would get into college easier. Everyone knows it.
Everyone knows it. That sounded sassy, bro. You might have gotten for other diversity requirements. I'm just gonna say it.
Going to college, and they told me when I applied for college that if I put Hispanic on it, I would get into college.
Who told you that?
I went to UC Santa Cruz, and the person when I transferred from junior college to UC Santa Cruz, and I was going through with the people at the college, I said I'm Hispanic and I'm also white.
What year was this?
No matter what I put on here. What?
What year was this?
This was 2011.
Okay, so yeah, that was probably affirmative action, not DEI.
Okay, well, we can also look up test scores for colleges for minorities, because I guarantee you it's going to be right here, and it's going to be pretty easy to find.
I told you why. I just told you why holistic admissions would allow people with lower test scores to get into different environments and get into different schools. I just explained that to you. Okay. What percentage? Okay, for example, like what percentage of Fortune 500 CEOs do you think? What percentage of Fortune 500 CEOs do you think are white? What percentage of Fortune 500 CEOs do you think are white? Tell me, what percentage of Fortune 500 CEOs do you think are white?
I think that there's a lot more white people in this country, and who gives a shit
What
about
percentage of Fortune 500 CEOs do you think are both white
So
and
are
men?
you telling me that we need to have more Fortune 500 CEOs based on their skin color? That's fucking insane.
Oh, by the way, dumbass, I looked at the actual story. So this incident was about biographical information. It was nothing about actual qualifications for the job or technical ability. So nothing about the actual qualifications of actually doing the job itself. It was nothing about the technical ability. It was nothing about their ability to do the damn job. Nothing about the story was showing that we were hiring unqualified black people to get into this position.
No,
nothing about the story with Shelton Snow.
God, showed that he was giving the test answers to minorities.
There was no benefit for the actual test for technical requirements or for final qualifications. There was no benefit at all provided.
It was just giving literally everything on here. Who is Shelton Snow? FAA supervisor caught leaking exam answers to
What
junior
website is
ATC
this?
employees. Right now I'm on Times Now World, but all you have to do is type in Shelton Snow on Google. MSN's covering it. Like, it's covered by not every leftist news source, but it's covered by a decent amount of
Leftist?
them.
What do you think is leftists?
MSNBC, CNN, ABC, MSN.
They're leftist. Okay.
Yeah, they are.
You know what that word means too, apparently. That's cool. So
yeah,
they're socialists?
I know what leftist means because I'm a liberal human being and you are a leftist human being.
I am not a leftist at all. I am very center. I am extremely center. Because any real leftist would yell at me. Any real leftist does not like me.
But you define yourself as a socialist.
I do not call myself, bro.
I'm asking.
I cannot stand socialist. I cannot stand socialist. No, I cannot stand socialist.
So, but do you think that we should be paying for education? I heard you earlier talking about paying for higher education for kids.
No, not for all higher education. No, community colleges at the most.
Okay. Do you think we should have healthcare?
And trade schools. Trade schools too. Yeah, we should have some type of universal system like Australia or Germany that's mixed, but everyone should be covered.
Do you think that we should have DEI?
Equal opportunity employment. Yeah.
Not equal opportunity employment.
Yeah, equal opportunity employment. Yeah, equal opportunity employment. Equal opportunity employment.
Okay.
Diversity, equity, inclusion is not affirmative action. You can keep on saying those words, but you're wrong about it.
Do you believe in welfare? Yeah.
I believe in a social safety net, not welfare.
Okay. Do you believe? I mean, these are all leftist things, dude.
Those are not leftist things. Those are liberal policies. That's not leftism. No, leftism is like leftism is seizing the means of production, is like taking control of businesses and making them like democratized. That's leftism.
That is communist.
Oh,
before
you just don't know what leftist means. It's fine. I don't care about the definitions of these dumbass labels. The labels are stupid. Political labels are cancer. Political labels are literally cancer. I don't care about political labels.
Libertarian, dude. Anything left of libertarian.
The center's libertarian. Oh, that's interesting. That's a wild position.
Well,
I don't know what kind of political compass you're using. Holy crap, that's crazy.
Okay, center is everybody take care of yourselves and we work together in a community and we make decisions and we give of our own free will. Anything that says the government
giving up your own free will, hell no. Freedom of autonomy is awesome. That's why I'm pro-choice.
I mean, pro-choice is the decision to choose things about your body and your life. What about it?
I'm pro-choice because I want people to have their own autonomy and control their own bodies.
I'm also pro-choice, but at a certain point, a baby. But like, it's up for debate when a baby is a baby. But I am pro-choice as well.
Hell yeah.
That Shelton Snow thing's wild, dude. But I got caught up. I was looking up these test scores for colleges.
So is that the only example you have? Something that had nothing to do with the actual job? Or do you have other examples of and that's not DEI either. That's not DEI. That's one person doing something that is not approved. That's not DEI. That's objectively not DEI. That's not DEI though.
It was to meet equity quotas. DEI has inspired equity quotas. And
no, DEI is also not quotas. Like when it was signed into law in 1960s, when DEI was initially done, it was equal opportunity employment. There's nothing about quotas. DEI includes veterans. Again, they include veterans. They include poor kids. They include all the factors to make things more fair. It's more meritocratic to have DEI than not have it.
I will agree with you, dude. I will give you full credit. Your definition of DEI is not bad.
That's the federal law definition of what DEI is, according to the Trump administration. According to all the colleges that I know that I work with, yes, that's what DEI means. Yes.
Okay, except that is not what it is in practice. You can define it.
You are saying affirmative action and DEI are two different things. They're two different things. They're not the same thing.
Is DEI?
No, they're different things.
Yes, based on the last 5 years with equity
They are
quotas.
different things. You could bring it up as much as you want. They are still different
You're
things.
saying that affirmative action has been illegal, yet we have equity quotas.
They are
which is
still
affirmative
different
action.
things. DEI
Okay.
and affirmative action are different
But if affirmative
things.
action has been illegal, but diversity, equity, and inclusion isn't, and in practice, diversity, equity, inclusion is acting the exact same way as
No, it's
affirmative
not.
action.
I already told you what it
Your
is. I told you what it
definition
is. I already told you what it
beautiful
means. If you don't want to listen, I'm not going to talk to you
wonderful,
anymore, bro.
dude. We love
I
your
explained what
definition
DEI
of
means. I
DEI.
explained what it means. It's about equal
Bro,
opportunity
we love your
employment.
definition of DEI, but in practice, that's
That's
not
the
what it
actual definition of DEI. That's the legal definition
is.
of
You
it.
can
It's
define it
not
however
focusing
you
only on
want,
race.
dude.
I'll give you a
Because
study on it. I'll give
racism
you a
by
study.
its
No, I'll give you a
definition
study on what
is
DEI
different
actually
from
means and what it actually does. Because
racism.
you're making a lot of veterans lose their jobs right now. You're making a lot of poor white kids lose their jobs as well. You're making a lot of weak people. You're making a lot of you're making a lot of people that have disabilities lose their jobs right now because you don't want to learn definitions because you're so caught in the right wing media bubble. So
All
you just
these
don't care
people
about
are
this because
losing
you think
their-
DEI is all
No,
about black
explain
people
it,
and you hate
explain
DEI
it.
because you don't
How
like
are
black
these
people. That's what it really is.
Losing their jobs because DEI is over.
I'm just saying. Now in the future, it's not going to be equal opportunity
How
employment.
are people losing their jobs because DEI is over? You
Because
keep
Trump is
saying
cutting
this.
80,000 veterans from Veterans Affairs.
Okay, how is that DEI being over? Veterans.
Because hiring vets is DEI, and if you cut a lot of vets, you're anti-DEI.
So if you hire a veteran at any point, it's DEI. The guy can have qualifications.
No, it
way
could be. It
above
could be.
anyone
It could be.
else,
No,
but
it
as
could
long
be.
as you hire a
It could be.
veteran,
We have preferential hiring for veterans. Yeah.
Okay,
We
so
actually do
you're
have preferential
telling me-
hiring for veterans. Or we
Okay,
at least give
that's-
like more opportunities for. We make sure like when we give a job application out, we include veterans in that pool.
And has that gone away since we got rid of DEI?
Yeah, at the federal level, yeah.
What? Really? Show
Yeah,
me
most of
where
the
that is.
people we
Show
fired
me
are
where hiring for
we got rid of
veterans went away
80,000
because
people.
we got
Actually, I
rid
could
of
look at the
DEI.
numbers for veterans fired so far. Actually, Trump set a record for most veterans fired in U.S. history in the past month. Wait, let me see. Trump total.
And is that because you got rid
vets.
of DEI?
Yep.
That's because you got rid of DEI.
Well, you don't know what DEI is. You don't know what
fired a
DEI
bunch
is.
of people. No, you're the one that's saying he got rid of DEI, and that's why veterans don't have jobs. It's not because he shut down all of these corrupt institutions that were
The
laundering.
corrupt
funneling
institutions.
money.
The corrupt. Okay, you have no proof of laundering money either, so that'll be good.
No proof of laundering. Well, okay.
Yeah.
here's some-
What institution laundered money?
$100 billion given to Ukraine is missing.
That. Oh my God, you believe all of the dumbass shit, bro. Oh my God,
wait.
there's not $100 million.
Zelensky
Yeah, Zelensky
verbatim
said. You know why
follow the
Zelensky said
money
that?
and go
And all of you guys do the same shit. All you guys do the same talking points.
Whoa,
Zelensky said
whoa,
that.
Whoa. So are you
Calm
telling
down.
me that there's not
Zelensky said.
$100 billion
How much
missing
do you think
from
we gave in
Ukraine
total?
funds?
How much do you think we gave in total to Ukraine?
I mean, it's debatable, but some people say what, like 120 something billion. Some people say 350 billion.
Well, Trump says 350 billion because he's a lying asshole, but also like the real number is 120 billion. But like
Okay.
when Zelensky said that, the reason he said I don't know where this money went is because he never got the damn money. We spent the money here to send weapons to Ukraine. There was not there was never $100 billion sent in aid to Ukraine. We
Okay,
paid
what
money
about
here. We
the
sent
actual
weapons to them. That's why Zelensky said that he was kidding. He was saying it in the joking way. But the right wing media you follow lies to you people. They lie to all
about
of you
the
people. They frame all of this shit in lies.
investigation?
Actually, I'm happy we're talking about Ukraine now because Ukraine is the perfect topic to show that you don't know shit about anything. Because DEI you get bullshit through because people don't like
Oh,
DEI,
dude,
but you know
Ukraine
nothing about
thing's
Ukraine. I
easy as
guarantee
fuck.
you.
Dude, the Ukraine thing's so fucking easy. It's not my problem.
Okay, you got your first 5 facts wrong. If you get to 10, we might have to hang up, bro. You got your first 5 facts wrong about Ukraine, bro.
I got my first 5 facts wrong that money's missing.
Do you think that? Yep, that's wrong. Yep, that is wrong. That's a fake thing. $350 billion is wrong.
Zelensky never said money was missing.
I just are you like? Do you need special DEI to
Well,
hear
no,
this
you
conversation? We
just
could send you
said-
accessibility.
you just said
Like if you really need
Zelensky
more
said it
help,
and it was-
like I could send you in Morse code or
that was
Braille
your
or something. Like
excuse.
seriously,
literally just
I
said
just said
Zelensky
if
did
you
say
look at
that,
the
but it was a
conversation when
joke.
Zelensky said that, yes, he said jokingly, "I don't know where this money is because we never got it because it was
Okay,
never
let's
approved. There
skip
was no
that.
money sent."
Let's talk more about Ukraine, dude. If you want to skip that, you want to write it off as a joke, that's fine.
Yes,
We can
because
skip that.
literally out of the 120 billion, 70 billion was spent on weapons and like 50 billion was spent on aid. So there was never $100 billion sent to Ukraine.
Okay.
Objectively, it's a fact. You can look at the bills passed in Congress that approved funding for Ukraine. That was never done.
Let's
So
talk-
Zelensky said, "I don't know where the money is" because it was never done.
Let's talk about Ukraine. Why is it
Yeah.
my obligation to fund war that has nothing to do with me?
Why is it your obligation to do anything?
It's not. So why are they
Exactly.
taking my tax and giving it to another country to fight a fucking war that doesn't have anything to do with me?
Well, we're giving defense to an ally that we had an agreement with.
An ally? How are they an ally?
We signed an agreement called the Budapest Memorandum.
Okay, are they in NATO?
No, but we had the Budapest Memorandum with Russia, Ukraine, and one other country. Signed in Hungary in 1994,
So,
I believe, and that said
what
we
I-
were going to give
I-
Ukraine security or at least aid if
So
they were going to be invaded by
on that
Russia, if they denuclearized. So we helped Russia denuclearize Ukraine in 1994.
Okay, and then what did we promise them we'd do for that?
Just like basic aid if they get invaded by Russia.
Okay, this basic aid.
Yeah?
This is not basic aid.
Yeah, we're ranked 17th.
above
We're
and
ranked
beyond. We
17th in total
funded
aid.
a war
We're ranked
for-
17th in total aid as percentage of GDP. Yeah, we're ranked 17th.
We
total
have
aid.
funded their war machine for 4 years.
They don't have a war
That's not-
machine. They're defending themselves, and actually Europe gave more money to them. So
They don't have a war machine. We are their war machine. We have funded ourselves funding them. We're funding the war machine.
we are helping our ally
It-
defend themselves. We're helping our
they're
ally
not-
defend themselves.
they're not
Europe
our
gave them
ally.
more money. Europe gave them more money. We're helping our ally defend themselves.
Europe did not give them more money.
Yeah, they did. I can bring
That-
up the numbers here. Europe versus USA, Ukraine funding. Let's see. Let's see if we can find a good, pretty graph
I'm
for
excited.
this.
To read this. You want me to look it up too, so you don't nitpick and make up total BS?
Percentage of total government support to Ukraine. So from the Kiel Institute, the graph is on the screen right now. So financial, humanitarian, military donations. U.S. gave 42% of funding. Other countries gave 8%, and Europe gave 50% of funding. So yeah, Ukraine got a lot more from Europe than the U.S., and we had to deal with them.
Okay, I'm talking about dollars, dude. I'm talking about straight dollars. Who gave more money?
Okay, so if Europe gave 50% and the U.S. gave 42%, then Europe gave more. But we could look up the actual numbers.
Okay.
But that still means.
Oh, wait.
I mean,
Okay, so
Europe gave
we're including
140
all of
billion.
Europe.
Europe gave
all of
140
Europe.
billion. U.S. gave 120 billion.
So we're including all of Europe as one country. It's on their
Yeah.
doorstep. There's 50
That's
countries.
the only way. The European
And
Union.
with the United States that's not there, and we gave slightly less than every other country who it's their doorstep. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Why?
Because we give far more money to countries like Israel, and also just in general,
Obviously,
it's good to keep the
money
globe
is
more
Israel.
stable. It keeps us more safe if we help our allies. If we help Europe be more safe, if we help Canada
Well,
be more safe, then it helps us be more safe.
You know what would help us more than any of that? Making an ally with Russia. You can laugh at that, but how? Like, if Russia's the problem, making an
Bro,
ally
Russia
of
shoots their own soldiers. You realize that they shoot and torture their own soldiers. They kidnap Ukrainian kids and sell them into sex trafficking. You know
Bro,
what Russia
did you
is?
not
Russia's a
know the
brutal
videos
dictator. Like
of
they put
Zelensky
bounties on American
kidnapping
soldiers.
people
They
and
put bounties on American soldiers. Are you stupid? Do you know this stuff?
Bro, there's hundreds of videos of Zelensky kidnapping his own people, throwing them into a car on the street, and shipping them to the front lines. So if
Bro,
you're saying
you realize that
does
Russia,
you
you realize Russia
Yeah.
lost like twice as many soldiers because they don't care about their people. They literally are invading Ukraine with their people, letting them die with inferior
They're
equipment.
kidnapping the few people that they have.
It's called a
left.
draft. They're
Yeah, but
being
the back of-
invaded. Yeah, that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
I agree it's bad they're being invaded, but you do shit when your country's being invaded. The U.S. would do the same thing.
Okay,
We would do the same
so
thing.
now
But we
you're
don't understand that here because we're pampered in America. But I mean,
You're
that
defending-
sucks. It does
defending
suck.
the
I
fucking
agree that's a bad
defending
thing.
the
But can you
front
please?
line,
I brought up
disbanding
how Vladimir
elections,
Putin is
all
invading
of-
Ukraine and taking kids in the sex slavery. Do you care about that, or do you want to talk about Ukraine again?
So, wait, all right, you're trying to go into sex slavery.
Putin's
You're telling me
kidnapping
Americans
kids
don't put
and
kids in
trafficking
sex
them.
slavery?
Putin
Ukrainians
kidnaps
don't put
Ukrainian
kids in
kids
sex
and
slavery?
puts them in
It's like-
re-education
that's
camps.
like-
Can you
dude, that's
please
like-
criticize that?
like,
Please criticize the
when-
kids
when-
getting trafficked.
Bro, there's kids getting trafficked all over the fucking world.
Ah, this guy can't criticize kids getting trafficked in Russia because he's
I
such a
just
dumbass
said that
simp. Oh my god, you're so pathetic as a person,
Oh
dude.
my God,
Holy
dude,
shit, just
you are
criticize the
hilarious.
sex trafficking. Criticize the
kids
trafficking of kids.
trafficked
Don't
all
both
over
sides
the
it.
fucking
Don't
world.
say this happens everywhere. This is very unique. Can you please just criticize Russia? Just
Oh,
criticize
okay,
Russia.
explain-
Criticize Russia. I care about the kids. Criticize Russia.
I don't give a fuck about Russia.
Criticize Russia once. Criticize.
about
You are a spy. You're being paid off. Criticize Russia once.
I just said I don't give a fuck about Russia.
Criticize
About
Russia
Russia.
for trafficking kids. Criticize Russia for trafficking kids,
Okay.
please.
Fuck Russia for trafficking kids. Fuck anyone who traffics.
Okay. Let's see who else is gonna call him. Listen, bro. If I gotta ask you multiple times, If I gotta ask you multiple times to denounce the trafficking of kids, I cannot talk to you. I just can't. Why would I respect your opinion? Like, you're okay with kids being trafficked? Like, that's crazy.
Hello?
Howdy.
Oh, it's you again. How are you doing today?
Terrible.
Why are you doing so bad, man? You gotta stop. Get the stick out of your ass. Have some fucking smile on your face. Come on.
No.
Why are you so mad?
Stan, why are you so mad? Please understand. I do want you as a fan. Oh, crap.
I know. Why are you so mad, man? You should be happy. You got another day of life on Earth. It's a good day. Anyways, so now, since we can actually have a conversation and you're not going to run away like a little girl, let's talk about...
Girls don't run away. I love women. Don't insult women or girls. Girls are tough. Men run away.
They're so tough. Who's the enforcer of the entire planet? Men? Oh yeah, who goes to war? Like 99% men. Who like build all infrastructure? Men.
Women give birth.
But anyways, that's what
women give birth. Women give birth. Women lead households.
That's great. That's great. But they can't enforce anything because they're not the main enforcement arm of anybody.
I don't care about that. I'm saying
if
that
all
women
men
do lead.
Want to do
women do lead.
They could do it. If all women want.
Why are you people so weird, bro? Why are you so weird? Why do you think about this stuff? Holy shit! I would not trust you around women at all. I hope you're not around little girls too much. Holy shit, that's so weird.
Do you not understand? Stop spurging. Stop spurging.
It's not spurging to say that you sound like a danger around women. That's not a joke, bro. That's weird.
You're taking everything so seriously, dude.
No, yeah, you just said very explicitly, like, think about it, bro.
You're so angry.
If I could dominate all women,
can
women dominate all men?
Get the stick out of your ass. Come on. Have a little fun with it. People would actually want to talk to you more if you weren't so angry. Don't be a grouch. Anyways, let's stop getting off onto that bullshit. Let's talk about transgenderism. Transgenderism is obviously toxic to society. I don't think they're bad people by any means. And I actually think that they deserve sympathy. I don't think that people should be mean to them. I think that's wrong. But they clearly have a mental delusion. And encouraging delusion is not a good solution to anything. They have 12.5 times the suicide rate, even after gender reassignment surgery. It is obviously extremely toxic. It spreads socially. It's a social contagion that spreads around and makes people want to kill themselves.
No, actually, people like you make them want to kill. People like you make people want to kill themselves.
See,
unironically, yeah. You call it a social contagion. Do you think gay people can be gay?
Yeah. Hold on. No. You just made a claim. You just made the claim that they are being stigmatized to the extent to where they're going to have higher suicidality rates than Jews in Nazi Germany. That's really your argument, dude?
Okay, really? Now you know stats suicide rates from Jews in Nazi Germany. You're a weird person.
They were to suppress.
You're a very weird person. Right? You are a very weird person.
Right, that's your argument.
You're probably very short.
You have an argument.
Just you're very weird.
Stop
okay,
spurging.
You can keep on saying that over and over again. I'll let you on the line so people can see how unhinged you are. But it's also, really just in general, we see like the numbers for trans people. Most of it is because like trans people are much more likely to experience sexual assault, for example, than any other group. And also to be bullied, cut out from their families, kicked out of their houses and homes, and denied care.
None of that
in general. So yeah, that does lead into suicide rate when people don't accept them. When people like you call them a social contagion, you just sound like a Nazi when you say that shit. Anyway, weird ass framing. Okay. But also, trans people are more likely to be victims than threats. And like when it comes to like trans people and supporting them, that helps a lot with like their suicide rates.
That's a conflation.
That's a conflation.
Yeah, it's a false equivalency fallacy, in case you didn't know.
Wow, a false... You sound like such an internet dork. Do you know... You probably listen to Destiny and like all those guys. Holy crap.
Actually, really don't like that.
I just had a lot of facts right there. I just had a lot of facts about how trans people are treated in the world. And
right, and it's interesting how what you like to do is shout factoids with zero context and understanding of it. That's why when I tried to get you to define stuff last time... calling
trans people social contagion is a much better way to talk about facts.
You gonna interrupt? Yes. You gonna let me finish my point?
Well, last time I hung up because you cried whenever I had a conversation with you. You can say
No,
spurging
it's
again.
because you
Nice.
actually were getting called out for your shitty debate tactics, trying to do bad faith
Actually,
things,
you're using
and I
debate
called
tactics.
out.
You have not
You were
responded to a
like-
point in like 5
you were
minutes right
getting
now.
so
You're just kind
upset.
of going on and like ranting right now. You can respond to points though if you want.
Right. So you interrupted me, and I'm responding to your
Are
interruption.
you gonna keep
but
on
somehow
responding? Are you
I'm
gonna keep
holding
on
up the
crying?
conversation.
Are you gonna keep on crying? Yeah, you are holding up the conversation. Just
Here we go
answer.
again.
Just
Okay,
like respond
let's
to me.
go right back to it since you wanted to derail the argument because you know you're losing. Okay, so
Okay.
we want to talk about this. The issue is that, again, you're providing factoids with no context. You're just saying, number this bad, number that bad. That's all your argument devolves down to. You have no context. We have the research that suggests directly, even in places like California, where it's accepted, it is the same. It is the same. If your hypothesis were to be true, then what would need to happen is in places where it's quote unquote more accepted, we would see lower rates. And substantially, they are not. They are extremely high, regardless of where they are. So you can shout these factoids all you want, but they're just bullshit factoids that have no context. Are you looking things up because you don't know what you're talking about?
I'm
Right.
finding out the actual.
Okay.
I'm finding the actual data for it because it is a lot
I
lower.
can point to the study specifically. It
So
came out
trans
last
people,
year that had
so trans
13,
people that are
12 point
supported,
times.
you don't seem confident. The trans people who are supported by their families reported suicides at a 60% lower rate than those who got no support from their families, and it's actually higher than those who get aggression from their
get into
families.
that study specifically.
Even if
because
just one
they're giving
adult
a
can be
quote.
accepting of them, even if one adult
Hey,
can be
you can keep
accepting of
spurging all you
trans
want,
people,
I mean,
even
it's
with
not
like a
helping you.
high school, even like a teacher or something, even a teacher can help save many lives. So the suicide rate goes down
Yeah, you're
40%
spurging,
from
dude.
the peak
You're spurging.
for trans people
You're
who
not
have
allowing me
a
to
supporting adult.
respond to any
So
of it.
support from society does decrease the trans suicide rate by like 60 or 70%. So if you don't accept trans people, you are
that's a
responsible for
lie.
death.
Uh-huh.
You are driving people
Okay.
to death.
Yep.
You
Keep
you are
spurging,
responsible
keep
for
spurging,
that.
keep spurging,
And we're
keep
also holding
spurging.
society back from accepting people in general, making
Right.
more
Keep spurging. You're not really making any
making
points.
a more
I want
stressed
to
environment in
so we can have a
general, a
conversation.
less community focused. I care about the
Keep
community and
spurging.
how we treat each other as human beings.
Right.
So
do I.
And
I
as you
think
can see
should
right now,
keep them
this person who's
locked.
calling in and calling trans people social contagions, he doesn't want to help trans people. He doesn't care that
No, I
supporting
said
trans people can really help
transgenderism
trans
is,
people.
so you can lie all you
He
want.
doesn't really
like
care
you
about that
usually
at
do.
all. He hears Jordan Peterson and like probably
So you're
Tim Pool
spurging
and all
and
these
not
right-wing
allowing-
commentators.
you're-
He's going to say
you're
the same word over and
filibustering,
over again.
actually.
And he's really
Filibustering the
insecure,
debate.
so he keeps on
Classic
repeating the
liberal.
same word over and over again. He's a
Classic
classic
liberal.
liberal. He has to go back to that. So yeah, we should care for each other in our communities.
Actually,
Things we
back
don't
to that,
understand, we
it's
should
the first
ask other
time I
people
said it, but you're
questions.
just filibustering
We should
the
ask
debate
other
'cause
people
you're
questions
losing.
about themselves and
Right.
their lives and learn more from each other. And truly hear each
Right.
other out so we can support each other to be more successful. That's really
Right.
the whole goal of my channel, is caring about your community, caring about your neighbors, and not just approaching
No, it's
conversations
not.
like this
It's
guy is.
enabling delusional behavior so that these people
No, it's
will
not delusional
continue
at
to
all.
kill
So like
themselves.
and even
Yes,
the
it
study
is.
behind like gender
Because you
dysphoria
can't
is
change your
very
gender,
grounded
buddy.
in facts.
You can't. No, you can't.
Yeah.
You
Thank you
cannot
for
change your
$10,
gender.
James. Thank you for $10, James. You can't defend that BS with
But
Trump
you're just
spouts.
intentionally
You can't
derailing
argue
the
with
argument
ignorance.
because you're
When the country has
losing.
gone to
This is-
hell,
this
they'll
is
be
how
like
you
the other
argue.
maggots who realized they were effed at themselves and us with their vote.
Right.
Thank you,
You
James,
don't
for
want to say
$10.
anything? Or are you just going to
Thank
keep
you,
going and
Howard
going
G,
and going?
for $2. Thank you, Jeremy, for becoming a channel supporter. Thank you, Cabby. Thank you for becoming a supporter tier member. Thank you so much. Yeah, supporting tier is $3. $3 on YouTube. You become a channel member. Help us meet our channel member goal. Support independent media, and so I can talk to people like this who are really just out here just trying to yell at people. I guarantee this guy has not one plan to make society better without punching down on people.
It's hilarious. He's spurred
At all.
for like 3
I could ask
minutes and never
this
let
guy
anybody
about
talk.
one policy to help him and his family. I could talk about healthcare policy at the state, local, or even like federal
Yeah,
level.
or to debate
I can talk
actual
about
points,
policies
but
to
you
help
choose not
vets.
to.
I can talk about policies to help people access therapists and to make housing costs lower. I could talk about policies to
Right.
help the American people so we
We
can all
can
come
talk
together
about
and fight
policies that
for
make
a
kids
common
kill
issue.
themselves
But this guy comes
and
in and
encouraging
exactly he
kids to
comes
be
in just
delusional.
just attacking other
You
people,
can do that.
and he's
Of
not
course
here
you
to
do.
learn. He's not here to hear people out. People
I'm
like this are
definitely here to
unhinged and they
learn.
live
You're
off of
spurging for
this.
like 3 minutes.
They live off of you hear him
So
talking.
how long
and
are you gonna
he's
spurge
about to have
for?
a hypermanic episode where he is thinking he's trying to cover
I'm
up
laughing from,
his
like,
unhinged
actual,
personality
actual
with
hilarity
this
here.
really scary approach to the conversation. It's just like he sounds like a ghoul. You know what I mean? Thank you for $2, Bucky.
Right.
Thank you so much for $2. Someone said we have $2. We have $0 out of 125 for our stream goal. Yeah, no one donated through Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal. If you guys can please donate to Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal to Jolah Politics, I would really, really appreciate it, guys. Really supporting the stream is super helpful. Actually, we did get a Venmo donation. Thank you so much. I don't know if you want to call in. Let me see. Moral Politics. You want me to read a book?
So
I'll read that book. Thank you for $10, Daniel. Thank you for the $10 donation on Venmo. Initials DS. Thank you so much. But yeah, if you want to donate Jolah Politics on Cash App, PayPal, and Venmo, JOLAHPOLITICS. Jolah Politics, PayPal, Venmo. If you donate through coffee, you can get go through coffee, then you'll have a TTS message, and it'll read your message aloud on stream. So thank you for all the donations. Thank you for all the support, all the channel memberships. Thank you guys.
We
Thank you $5, Benny. Thank you, Benny, for $5. Thank you, Benny. Thank you, Benny. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, so what's your healthcare policy?
No, we're not going to move on from that because you just spurred and like freaked out because you were losing the argument.
What's your healthcare policy?
Again, dude, are you going to let me talk? Because you spurred for
Do you support universal healthcare? Do you support universal healthcare?
Dude, stop running away. This is what you like to do, right? Because last time
you support universal healthcare?
When you started getting proven wrong,
do you support universal healthcare?
Right?
Do you support universal healthcare? I'm
just going to do this.
Thank you for $20. Thank you, Strange.
I'm not going to.
Strange donated. Thank you so much, Strange. Thank you, Strange.
Bullshit.
Strange donated. He donated $20. He donated $20. Strange, thank you. I don't agree with anything you say. I'm a hardcore conservative. I wish we could have a respectful conversation one day. Can I call and have a decent conversation? Yeah, definitely, Strange. Because I know you're going to be way less unhinged than this guy is. And I'm sure you're not sympathetic to the Nazi Party like this guy is. This guy is a raging.
You just don't like
lunatic.
it when people push you on topics and when people pussyfoot around stuff. You just let them talk.
No, you just want trans people to kill themselves. That's what your goal is. That's what your goal is. You want trans people to be in a terrible place for them. Like you don't want them to be safe. You want them to die.
No, you're just making claims, dude.
You're probably gay yourself. You're probably gay. You're probably gay. Are you gay? Are you gay? Are you gay by chance?
Bro, you're spurging so hard. You're making an ass out of yourself, dude.
You said the word spurg, I think, 15 times so far. So what else do you have to offer?
Well, stop spurging then. Maybe I wouldn't have to say it. Holy shit, dude. Are you going to be this bad faith with every person you talk to that pushes you to answer questions?
What question did you ask me? 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 What question did you ask me?
I said we're going back to the question.
No, what question did you ask me?
Of that. I said of the question.
Okay, ask me a question about my position. Thank you for $5, Jeremy. Thank you $5, Jeremy. The caller is a sheep. I know, Jeremy. Thank you for $5, Jeremy. The caller is a sheep. It is disappointing, but it is what it is. Thank you, Jeremy.
Yeah, the person who has to filibuster for 5 minutes.
Now tell me your question.
Yeah. I didn't say that. I said do the question of transgenderism.
Okay, what is the question of transgenderism? What is the question here? What is the question of transgenderism?
Is it or is it not bad for society? That's obviously what I said.
No.
It clearly is, because it creates extraordinary, and all you have for answers is dumb platitudes and parallels.
Ooh, like stats, like facts and logic. You don't like facts and logic.
No, it's not.
You guys realize he's getting his microphone is about to break, bro. You gotta calm down. Turn down your sensitivity. You're clipping like hell. No, bring up a fact. Bring up a fact.
Okay, let's talk about the study that showed that they're 12.5 times the suicidality rate even after operation. Let's talk about that. It came out, last year? Let's talk about that and not your stupid things that you keep bringing to the table.
Yeah, the suicide rate is still high, but gender-affirming care lowers the suicide rate as well. So if trans people can access gender-affirming care, then the suicide rates are lower after gender-affirming care.
Nah. Yeah, you're not going to let me talk.
Well, this is a big issue for people. And
I but you don't want people to talk about it. Yeah.
No, you're not talking about it. You're just lying about it.
No, I'm not. Actually, you are, because all your
the suicide rate is lower after gender-affirming care.
Shut the fuck up, dude. Can you let people talk? Holy
Calm
shit.
down. But the suicide rate is lower after they get gender-affirming care, and if society accepts them. But the truth is, if you cared about trans people, you would accept them. You would still accept trans people. You would not call it a social or like a contagion or whatever. You would talk to them like human beings. You know?
So I can't even make a single point without you talking.
Make a point. I've
tried for like 5 minutes.
Okay, are you gonna cry more about? Make a point.
Oh my god. Okay. So first off, the studies that you're going to are literally done by
Thank you,
trans
Rita, for
activists.
20. Thank you in
They're
chat.
done by
RQ. Thank you, $25 in chat. Thank you on Cash App. Thank you for the Cash App donation. I have to change the goal for the stream. We're at $35 for the stream. Thank you so much for the donation. Thank you. She said, "Love the glasses." I get that a lot. I don't know why I don't like the glasses, but apparently people do. I don't know if I look better with the glasses or what, but I do appreciate it. I saw someone say "sexy Snowden" the other day. I don't know if that's a compliment. I don't know if that's a compliment, but thank you so much. Thank you so much for the donation. Okay, go ahead.
So when we're talking about that, all you have is literally things done by trans activists. Like, you don't have any. These are by
everyone that
the
disagrees with you is a trans activist.
Nope.
All the facts I don't like are liberals. All the facts I don't like are trans activists. All the facts I don't like are trans activists.
No,
all the facts I don't like are trans activists.
Yeah,
all
I'm
the
sure
facts
you
I
don't
don't
look
like
at
are
the
trans
sources because you
activists.
don't understand. You just look at, things say I like, me going to believe it. That's all you think. You don't even look at your sources, dude. The sources are directly from PubMed and everything, and you just disagree with all of them. You only agree with the ones that are literally trans activists. They say it. It's literally, you can look up the people that support the studies. They're literally trans activists. It's not a debate. They literally state it themselves. Like, it's insane.
Are you saying the American Psychological Association are trans activists?
Absolutely. Are you fucking crazy?
Oh, everyone's a trans activist. What about the
right.
everyone
so
is. The American Psychological Association, the APA, yeah, the American Psychological Association. Do you think AP News are trans activists?
Absolutely. Dude, are you serious?
Oh, AP News are trans activists. Are the trans activists with us in the room right now? Whoa. Is Wall Street Journal trans activists?
Anything, dude. You're just literally not even able to
is
look
Wall
at the
Street Journal
themselves.
is Wall Street Journal trans activists?
They're leftists. Yes, they're leftists.
You think Wall Street Journal by Jeff Bezos is trans activist? The guy who just put a statement out saying that his
Dude, this is so funny. You're so delusional. What do you think CNN is like center?
Dude, but you think Wall Street Journal are trans activists, bro?
No.
Bro, they don't even, bro.
Do you
Brother,
think CNN is on the left?
Hey, Wall Street Journal, the official publication
No,
has,
answer the question.
they don't have any articles
about
about this issue. I was just asking you questions to see if you'd say that everyone's a trans activist. I brought up areas where they don't even do stories about this,
You're
bro.
dodging the question, dude.
And you still call them trans activists. I could have made up a news station. You said they're trans activists. You think every organization is trans activist? Wow.
Yes, they've come out in support of that stuff.
They're trans activists. Holy shit. Anyone that supports so therefore any study that's pro-trans is trans activist. That's crazy. So no one can disagree with you without being crazy. So you're saying no one can disagree unless if they're crazy. Yeah, you're saying no one can disagree unless if they're crazy. That's funny. So everyone that disagrees with me, everyone that disagrees is crazy. Everyone that disagrees is crazy. Wow, facts.
You're in denial of that, apparently.
Wow, dude. Wow. You realize Wall Street Journal's like, dude, you realize Wall Street Journal's not even... You realize they're like anti-trans too. I brought them up on purpose because they are not even pro-trans, and you said they're trans activists because your brain is so broken. Your brain is broken. Your brain is so broken.
No, it's just that you deny reality.
No mainstream media publication. No mainstream publication posts more anti-trans articles than Wall Street Journal. No mainstream publication does, and you still call them trans activists because your brain is so rotted. That's so sad.
Where's evidence?
That's so sad.
Zero. None. Zip. Nada.
Jeremy, thank you for $2. Jeremy said the caller is so emotional. I know he's so emotional. I don't know what to do with him. Thank you for a donation, Jeremy. I appreciate it.
You just use bad faith debate tactics, call people gay, and make fun of them.
Yeah, the bad faith debate tactics are actually you not being able to respond because you're too you're crying right now.
No, bad faith
I literally
debate
gave you a nice framework for why you can run off
minutes.
this. You can't answer a single question. Everything's apparently trans activist. How can I even argue with you? You're delusional. You're a conspiracy theorist. You're nothing but like a piece of poopy.
I didn't say that. You're the one making a false equivalency fallacy here.
Okay, is there one medical journal?
What were the words that I said? What were the words?
Here, let's see. So the Journal of Adolescent Health, are they trans activists?
Because that's just what you do. Because you don't want to answer questions.
I'm just want to know who the trans activists are. Because every source I bring up, you're going to say is trans activist. So I don't know who I could talk. I don't know what shit, dude. I don't know who I could talk to. I don't know what I could bring up.
It's pretty insane that you're literally saying to me that there are not people who write articles for the Wall Street Journal that aren't trans activists. Are you really telling me that right now? That's
No.
what you're saying.
No, I'm not saying. You
Then
said
what
Wall
the
Street
fuck are
Journal
you
as a
saying, then?
publication is trans activist. I just said that.
They have trans activists within them. I guess you'd have to define what that means, would you not?
Is the UCLA Williams Institute trans activists?
Not familiar with that.
Well, they actually are, you dumbass. This one that actually is trans activist.
Oh, you're
you
an
freaking
idiot.
You're so stupid. That actually is one organization that's pro-LGBT, that's like focused on LGBT issues, and he did not know what it was, bro. Shaking my head, bro. What are these guys doing out here? Holy shit.
Hello. Please state your name after the tone, and Google Voice
Whoa.
will try to connect you.
America the beautiful.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated
Shut
voice
up.
messaging.
Someone said you're a clown. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that so much. You don't understand how much I appreciate that. How are you guys doing tonight? How's everyone doing tonight? How are you all doing? It's like, I don't know. They're all trans activists, bro. Thank you for $20, Lawrence. MAGA is a cult not based on facts. There is nothing that can help these people. Yeah, it is a problem.
Call from
Joel?
Howdy.
Yo, what's up?
Nothing much. How are you?
Pretty good. Just listening to these unhinged conservative callers.
I mean, that guy was pretty hinged. I think he's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, he was sweet. I especially enjoyed the part how he couldn't say anything bad about Russia. Not one thing.
That was a funny one. When you ask people, like, say something bad about this, like Russia, it's like, I'm gonna hold it in. I can't really do it, dude.
Yeah, he doesn't understand why we're a part of NATO. Like that's the part that I don't understand. Like, why is Ukraine a part of NATO?
Yeah. And I always say I'm gonna keep this short because it's a friendly conversation. And not a raging idiot. Thank you TK for $5. They think commentary is fact, regurgitating any morsel they imagine makes them appear smarter than they are. Yeah, like calling Wall Street Journal trans activist is insane. If anyone that actually reads Wall Street Journal, like they platform by far the most like anti-trans opinion pieces that you could find. But yeah, and also the thing about Ukraine too, that they always say, like when Trump is like, we have two big beautiful oceans, it's direct Russian it's Russian and Chinese propaganda. And the idea we're going to tariff China and or Canada and Mexico, Canada and Mexico being together with us is a clear national security priority. We do not want to make enemies with those countries. If there ever was a war, when it comes to sustaining, we want very great relationships with Canada and Mexico. And the idea we're going to cut off trade with Mexico, Canada, and Europe, but we're going to increase trade with Russia is absolutely batshit insane. But also just the entire point, like, we're in between two oceans. That was not true for safety in the 1700s, 1800s, 1900s for sure. You know, we tried that isolationism, and we still got attacked, and we will get attacked even if we don't engage globally. And people don't realize, like, even today, foreign aid and USAID prevents wars. Like, soft power prevents wars. Doing foreign aid makes the globe more stable. For pennies on the dollar, for what war actually costs. And withdrawing the U.S. from the global relations is giving China a huge win. China's celebrating right now. Russia's celebrating right now. But they
Voice
just don't
of America
see it.
too. I mean, they do great undercover work in all sorts of dictatorships, and they reveal the truth to the people that their own publications don't give them access to.
Oh, Trump defunding the Voice of America. China put out a statement actually. They're celebrating
really?
it because that was the
Yeah, I'm sure
only
they are.
like you said, the USAID and Voice of America. Us funding those is the only way people in these authoritarian countries have any access to free press at all. And we just helped Russian and Chinese propaganda. These are great things to fund. I will fund them 10 times over with our taxpayer dollars. It's pennies on the dollar. And all we're gonna do with all this money is give it to tax cuts for billionaires. We're not paying down the debt. We're gonna give it to billionaires and actually do a higher deficit. So all the stuff people think they're voting for, they really don't get it. And when we talk about like, oh, this is, I don't know, $50 million for a project or 50,000, it's like you realize this is like a penny, maybe less than a penny per American. Like these are not expensive when it comes to the entire American economy or federal government. But I will say, our government needs to do better showing people what they're doing. Like I took a book out from the library, and have you ever done that recently?
Yeah, actually.
For the library I went to, at the bottom of the receipt it says, by doing this, you have saved $30 from what you would have spent buying the book. And we need to do that at the below every government service on a highway. Like if you would have driven for every 10 miles you drive on this highway, you save $20 versus driving on a private toll road. Or like by these subsidies are saving you this much money here, or these tariffs are increasing your costs
It's unfortunate
here. Like,
people need that, but yeah, it's true.
Yeah, we definitely need that. If people want to be involved in the government and be involved in Doge and support Doge and all that kind of stuff, then they need to just have the information in their faces so they understand it. Like I don't think people understand how much roads and bridges
It's crazy.
cost.
Like they invent shit like Doge. You're reinventing shit that's already there, except you're making it worse. And Doge has been like this governmental screen test. Do you know what a screen test is?
Did
It's
you say
just like
strain?
an IT phrase where IT guys will go in and they'll just turn off essential systems.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and whoever screams like, "Hey, we need that," that's how you know that something is useful. And that's basically what they've been going to the government and doing.
Yeah, I guess moving forward, it's hard too because Doge is 100% just the Trojan horse for cutting government in general and killing our benefits and Social Security and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, it's completely fake. And the fact that people are buying into that propaganda is the big thing. I'll give this a chance. Are you familiar with the creator Destiny?
No, I don't think so.
Thank God. It's terrible. But liberals like him, and I'm doing this from a YouTube clip, okay, because I want to make his supporters mad. But they don't understand the messaging we need to do moving forward as far as connecting to voters, because our long, detailed policy analysis and what I'm doing on my show is definitely not how we need to message to voters. But we need to change the moral underpinnings of our society. And J.D. Vance said about the Haitians in Springfield, Ohio, that he was being directionally correct. And it was directionally factual because he made it up. And he said it's okay to make it up as long as you're pointing towards an issue we do have. And his big thing is we want people to hate immigrants. We want people to hate immigrants. So even if we lie about these Haitian immigrants, it's okay because it's getting us towards our goal. In America right now, we need people to be directionally correct in an opposite position towards, if they don't like rich people, hating billionaires is not going to solve anything, but it's going to lead towards better policy to redistribute a little bit more wealth to the bottom. So moving people in the right direction a little bit is really big, even if it's not super specific on policy or anything like that. We need to message in a very clear way, and it's just changing the moral opinions of our society because most voters engage with politics like they engage with a TV show, with a simple TV show. And one big test I have is, I said this a little bit earlier, if you see a poor kid and you see like a poor family in general, is your response to say, I want to help them and I want to give them the tools to be successful and we as a community should come together? Or is your response, look at that asshole, he should get a freaking job if he wants to live here? We need to change because Americans are definitely, get them out of our country.
I think that we should help each other.
They should get a job. And yeah, we need to be able to say we need to help each other. And our messaging all needs to be focused towards that end. And voters are not going to become policy experts or become super complicated in their policies. But regardless, we still need to give a message that is about loving each other, about respecting our communities, and about, it's safer for us, for other people to be doing that as well. If we all have the mentality of helping the next person, it'll make safer communities. The suburban isolated mentality, although I am someone that I enjoy driving on back roads, I enjoy living in quiet communities, but also it's not a good way for society to live. And people are so isolated now. No one goes outside. Even walking through a public library feels so good.
We're always going to lead away from that. We're always going to lead into interconnectedness. That's just the way that society progresses.
Yeah, but it goes back when we get away from it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Trump supports us to be isolated. He talks about America being dangerous and we can't even go outside and we have to fight each other and hate each other.
Into the whole fascist propaganda.
Yeah, and he's talking about globalism now being an issue, and JD Vance said multiculturalism is going to kill Europe, and it's like he's literally quoting Mein Kampf with that. And I don't care about the Hitler comparisons at all, but objectively, Germany only almost fell, like Europe almost fell because people bought into JD Vance's arguments about multiculturalism. It did not fall because of gay people or because of different cultures or because of Jewish people. It fell because people in society were easily swayed by being bigoted towards these groups, and they gave power to the strong man who said he was going to get the woke mind virus or cultural Bolshevism, whatever you want to call it, out of their country. Same playbook right now. We have JD Vance talking about multiculturalism being the biggest inhibitor to progress. It's insane. It's insane. But JD Vance also follows Nazi accounts on Twitter, so I guess it can't be too surprising.
I mean, yeah, I think a large part of it is just liberals and conservatives just care about just wildly different things. And so we need to focus on messaging to conservatives to get them to care about their own fucking values, to care about things that are going to help men.
Well, no, because men, the toxic masculinity, and I hate that word, but it really is the inability to share your emotions or thoughts and all that kind of stuff for men really does hurt men. And I feel like men complain about shit they do to themselves. Like they really complain about a society they constructed. You know, men still control society by far. Fortune 500 CEOs are still, I'm pretty sure, 90% white men. Fortune 500 CEOs still are 90% white men, I'm pretty sure. Or maybe, is it down to 80% now? No, it's 90% still. It's 89%. So, like, white men in general control society. But the most common thing I hear from conservatives right now is Elon Musk is rich for a reason. We just got to trust him. Donald Trump, he knows what he's doing. He talks a lot of shit. We just got to trust him. It's nothing to do with personal responsibility. Personal responsibility is gone in the conservative movement. They don't give a shit about personal responsibility anymore. They just want to say, oh, someone else will take care of it. Or, you know, if I do something wrong, it's someone else's fault. And it's a really bad place to be, bad direction to go in. Like the Jordan Peterson clean your room stuff, that's all gone, bro. They don't talk about cleaning your room. Now all the right-wing conservatives just convince their people to hate society. They, like Charlie Kirk, they convince all these white boys to want a society where they win by default. It's nothing about being successful in the modern era. It's like we should go back in time, so we have to be at the top.
The gamer to right-wing pipeline.
Yep, gamers, especially the gamer wars, they say, for sure.
Well, I just wanted to call the shit on that other caller, but I appreciate you taking my call, and I just actually found your channel, and I love what you're talking about, so I just donated.
You found it today?
Yeah.
All right. Also, yeah. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for calling in. Thank you for watching the stream. Thank you everyone for dropping likes here. And definitely join our Discord. I always hop in Discord after the stream's over, so we usually hang out. It depends on how many people are in there, but it's not a huge Discord, but we're trying to get it going. Yeah, but thank you for the call.
Yep. All right. Bye.
All right. See you. Wow. What a nice conversation. Someone donated. Okay, so I'm sorry. People usually, now my rule is if you want to call into the stream, you need to donate $10 with your first name and your phone number to Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal to Jolah Politics. That's also my preferred places for getting donations if you're just trying to donate to the stream. If you want to send a super chat, I prefer doing it through Coffee. It says the message out loud, so that's super entertaining. But also YouTube works fine for that too. But if you want to call into the show, usually I do PayPal, Venmo, or Cash App only. But I saw someone donate $20, and I'm trying to find their name. But you have to send your area code at least, so I know. Or send me a text saying that you're that person that donated that money. Send your YouTube name in a text message, and I'll take your call. Who was that again? Thank you, Android. Love you, Jolah. Keep it up, sir. Thank you. Gamers are pretty degenerate. True. Please drop a like and subscribe. Subscribe to the channel. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Yeah, text me your name. Who is that? You have to pay to debate. This is definitely rigged. No, you don't have to pay to debate. You have to pay if you want to jump ahead of line. Strange and bizarre. Strange and bizarre. Text that number your YouTube name, and or put your area code in chat so I know which one you are. Because you sent $22, so I feel bad. Are you still here? Anyone see him? Anyone see him around? Daily dose of propaganda. Thank you. Yes, we do propaganda here. It was me. But yeah, send your YouTube name to the text it to the number on screen, or send your area code. I have to have one of those two things. Send your area code. Why did I block you? I did not block you. I can see your message. Come on, Strange. I need something. I need some life out here. We gotta keep the show going, Strange. Come on, Strange. Come on, Strange. The last caller? No. Oh. Wait, did Strange say that? I am super effing MAGA. Would you ever debate Charlie Kirk or Candace Owens? Well, no, because I don't have a platform. They only debate famous people because they want more views. He just sent another dono. I know, okay, I could see his name. I need him to send me his name on text so I know what number is calling. Or is he in the Discord? I'm confused. I don't know what number he is. I have no way to know that. No, not that guy. The other guy. Strange. Where's it at? You should not burn Teslas. Do not burn Teslas. Just laugh at people that have Teslas. Go, haha, you're cringe. You're stupid. Strange, you're not coming through. Thank you.
Hey, Jonah, how you doing?
Hello, I'm doing all right. How about you?
I'm doing good. First off, I did vote Trump and stuff like that, but I just want to just come on here and just prove that we can have a good conversation on both sides, no matter what, you know, and just find some common ground, you know, because I think that's what we really need in this country is just common ground between both aisles. Being, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. Usually people that call into this show are very skewed to being insane because it's a call-in show on YouTube Shorts. So usually, I mean, that's not going to get the best people that want to have like real conversations where people don't have an agenda. But I'm from a very humble background, so I always love having actual talks.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was listening to that other guy. I was like, man, he is just representing in the wrong way, and he just sounds like a freaking child. It's like, grow up. It's like, are you 22 or are you freaking 11? You know?
See, that's hard for me though, because as someone who's now, I wouldn't say I'm like a public figure on here until you're probably 50,000 subscribers. You can start saying that, but I have a decent enough audience where I'm like, you see the MAGA commenters in chat, and by MAGA I mean like insane internet people, and it's like, well, they're gonna be like, yeah, this guy's awesome just because they agree with them. But I have to remember that anyone that's even somewhat reasonable looks at that conversation and they're like, yeah, that guy's freaking insane right now. Like I'm just like, okay, let's talk about the how can we be like respectful of other people, and the guy's just reciting just like whatever culture war topics he heard about on social media. So
yeah, and also I saw the USA did some great stuff. I thought they did some bad stuff. I wish they didn't completely shut down the department altogether. I wish they cut some of the fat and made it more efficient for all of us, so they could still provide, you know, services across the world. But you know, I think every company has has some fat it needs to cut. You know, I think like
wow, that's actually the only the first reasonable take a Trump voter has had about any of this. Like, USAID, you could disagree with it, but also that's why Congress is supposed to do it, not the executive, when it comes to changing the laws or killing agencies. And also, you could have different ways to do it. You don't need to kill the departments.
Absolutely. Also, I have criticism of Zelensky and Putin. I have some appraisals of Zelensky and Putin as well. You know, and I don't think like one is like a freaking. I think they're both corrupt. Okay, I mean, what Putin's done to Pussy Riot, you know, when they protested and now they're in prison for the rest of their lives. You know, I think that's absolutely horrible.
Well, just another thing.
I think it was good. Yeah.
Just like really quick, Putin also like Russia shoots their own soldiers. Russia traffics kids. Putin is a terrible dictator where they killed everyone in Russia that was against Putin. And like if you go vote in Russia, they have a gun to your head to make sure you vote for Putin. So, like,
absolutely.
Yeah, so like Putin is a million times worse than Zelensky. There's a reason like Ukraine is still corrupt, but that's part of being in Eastern Europe. It's hard to not be corrupt when you're part of a former Soviet Union essentially, or you were. And they are a million times more free than Russia, though. So I mean, that's what the big issue
for
is,
sure,
especially
yeah.
because like Trump calls Zelensky a dictator. He would not even call Putin a dictator. Like he was super preferential to Putin in all of his language, which is really bad for me. But even saying they're like the same, I have an issue with. But if you're gonna say like Putin's like, I mean, in my opinion, Putin is closer to Hitler than a normal leader, and then Zelensky is just like a semi-corrupt leader of an extremely corrupt like country that's still a million times better than Russia, and they want to be moving to the west to leave corruption. They want to join NATO to leave corruption. They want to get away from Russia. So yeah, just to have that said.
Yeah, and if I may display some criticism I have of Zelensky, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, for sure.
Would that be okay? Yeah, absolutely. So when Zelensky, so I'm an Eastern Orthodox Christian, and I believe that having grace is the most important thing, especially talk to other people who don't agree with you, and really just having a spirit of understanding and love, coming across the board, stuff like that. So one thing that really upset me that Zelensky did, besides abducting people, and we can talk about that some other time, when he presented an icon of the Theotokos. Theotokos is just Greek for Mother of God. It's just a title. And Mary's holding, it's a icon of Mary holding Jesus, but Jesus is not in the picture. It's just a void and stuff like that. So and even pissed off the Pope too. If you look back at it, I believe there's like an article about it. But that's some disagreements I have with Zelensky and stuff like that. I think what he did was pretty blasphemous. And and again, when you're a national leader and stuff like that, you try to like present gifts or something like that, and it can definitely come off the wrong way.
Are you familiar with the intention behind it? With the intention behind that, like art piece?
Yeah, absolutely. It was to represent that. It was to represent all the missing children in Ukraine from the war.
And just the suffering. Yeah, the children lost to war and showing deep mourning, like if Jesus lost or if Mary lost her son, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I still don't think you should have took Christ out of the icon and stuff like that.
Okay, so like one thing that they okay, so the only criticism of Zelensky is a piece of symbolism that it's like, okay, well, an artist made it and it was just a show, something that was going on in the country. It was not intentionally. Well, okay, so if you're America, if we were getting invaded, any country would do that if they're getting invaded. What every country would not do is steal kids, traffic kids, and shoot their own soldiers like Russia does. So like Russia's purposely putting people, when they say meat grinder, Russia's actually doing that intentionally because they could just stop invading. But they have a lot of people, they have a lot of infantry, they don't really care, and they pull from the poorest areas of Russia and force them into the military. So like Russia, it's just when I see the president equating them or even giving preference to Russia, it really bothers me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Having praise for a dictator, either it's Ukraine or Russia, that's just no bono. We really have to be critical about what these world leaders do.
Well, Ukraine's not a dictatorship though. Like Zelensky's not a dictator.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of going that direction. Like just a domino effect. It might turn into that like 50 years from now. We just had to really sit back and see what's happening and stuff like that.
Well, the Zelensky thing that people need to look at, the parliamentary in Ukraine, according to their constitution, they cannot hold elections right now, and it's not secure enough to hold elections. There would be interference. There would be Russian soldiers, especially they would not be able to vote in most of Ukraine. That's in the war zone, essentially. Yeah. And parts are occupied, so they cannot have elections now at all. There's no chance for it, and that's why they probably they wrote it into their constitution because of Russia being right there. But when Trump says he's a dictator, it's like, no, like even the opposition party in Ukraine agrees that, I mean, most of the opposition party, there's some a little bit wild people. But saying he's a dictator is also just a little crazy.
And another thing that I actually disagree with is Zelensky and stuff like that. And not many people know this at all. But right now he has outlawed the Ukrainian Orthodox Church and is replacing it with his own church. I read a letter from an Orthodox metropolitan actually going in detail about it. So right now we have very ancient holy Ukrainian Orthodox sites actually being defaced and having profanity written on it. and they're actually priests being on house arrest and being taken away from their parishes, and they're actually holy relics, and you can actually look this up, that are being put in museums and stuff like that. So that's
Well, like there's
another
the
extreme I have
Orthodox
with it.
Church of Ukraine, but the Russian Orthodox Church was the issue and why they went against the Moscow part of the Ukraine Orthodox Church. And they did see Russian sympathizers in there that were agents. So I understand. Again, a country being invaded at an existential threat, they're killing and raping your people and kids. Like all that stuff is completely understand. I mean, if we judge them for that, I feel like we're just being hypocritical.
But still, to take holy relics and holy things from these sacred places and defacing them, and to actually putting these monks on house arrest and taking them from their monasteries, I think we both can agree that's just not a good thing to be doing. You know.
I need to know again. Like we went into the
Yeah,
Middle
it's
East and did
worth
far,
checking out
far.
after the
America's
stream,
doing far worse
of
now.
course.
America is in like no way to judge any country because even when we're not at war, we are doing that to countries, and it's like I understand, like especially if there's propaganda and you're in a country that's being invaded and you've been torn apart by being next to Russia. The reason Ukraine cannot succeed economically, they'd be closer to what Poland is at. They have a lot of resources, but Russia is the reason because they keep on infringing, they keep on violating ceasefires and everything. So my big thing is just like when Trump is like attacking Canada, attacking Mexico, attacking the EU, attacking Panama, and he's giving preference to Russia. And he wants to open up more trade with Russia and have less trade with Canada. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Are there good things, and are there any good things that you've seen Trump do that do you agree with? It was just one thing.
Okay, I'll go through my list really quick. So in the first presidency, the First Step Act was fine. The USMCA was fine. Okay, so those are the 2 points I usually bring up for the first time. And he was a lot less anti-gay the first time around. Now this time we're starting, and this was not included in the campaign. Well, he never ran. I care a lot about healthcare. He never ran on healthcare. He probably wants to kill the ACA again. He tried cutting Social Security in all of his budgets the first time around. Right now, Social Security is missing payments for the first time in its history because he's letting Doge do whatever they want to do. Letting our government sensitive information. Like Elon Musk was just briefed today by the Pentagon on Chinese relations, or like on a possible war with China, and he's entrenched in the Communist Chinese Party. Musk is. It's so dangerous to have him getting Pentagon briefs on our private secret military operations for a possible war with China. That's insane. A private citizen paying his way into the Oval Office essentially as like as the real vice president. I don't even see JD Vance, honestly. I never see him. I see only Elon Musk. Saying Canada's an enemy, saying Mexico and Canada, saying the trade deal sucks that he signed, having to tariff them, saying he's going to take Greenland, telling Canada he wants to restructure the borders and possibly invade and take Alberta or whatever. On the trade wars, the tariffs are bad for the economy. We could talk about tariffs too if you want. His policy on DEI is like, if you're a federal worker right now, you can't even think about DEI or diversity, or they try to ban you from saying that. Thank you, Jake. I'm not gonna say your full name. Thank you for $10 donation on PayPal. Thank you. But yeah,
what a guy!
You can try to tell me. Yeah, thank you for the $10 donation. Thank you so much for helping. He just said Ukraine. But yeah, you can try to convince me if you saw stuff he did that's good so far.
Yeah, of course. I mean, like, hey, people heard you on stream. At least praise at least one thing. So put that on the shorts. But anyways, I got to get going to do karaoke at my buddy's thing. But it was wonderful talking to you, and I hope I
appreciate the talk.
hope I was able to show you that not everybody is unhinged, and you can have a good conversation.
Okay, I do appreciate it. Do you know what song you're gonna sing for karaoke?
Oh yeah, Can't Help Falling in Love, man. I got the voice of it.
All right. Well, best of luck karaoke. Hope you have a good time, man. Thank you for the call.
One more question though. Do you do karaoke?
I cannot say I do karaoke. I do a freestyle rap on stream sometimes if people are getting annoying.
Oh hell yeah.
Which is
if you ever
even
do
worse
decide
somehow.
to do karaoke, do decide to do karaoke and you think that I'm not gonna do it, just remember, in karaoke you can sound like a dying walrus and they'll still clap for you.
All right, great advice. I'll do karaoke at 100,000 subscribers someday. Someone can clip that.
Hell
Not really.
yeah, I'll be there, dude.
I don't know. Okay. All right. Appreciate it. Hope to see you on the channel. Thank you for the call, man. Have a good night. Good luck.
Absolutely. Bye.
I gotta go do karaoke. That's a... Oh my god. Oh man. Thank you guys for all the donations. Thank you for all the likes and subscribes. Channel memberships, of course. Let's see what we got here. I might do my halftime right now, guys. I might do my halftime. For those of you who are new to the channel, here's the Discord first off. You can join the Discord. Thank you for dropping a like. Thank you for subscribing. Appreciate it. Are we at 24,000 yet? I don't know if we're at 24,000. I'm not sure. So for halftime in my stream, I have a YouTube Shorts stream running and a horizontal stream. So there's two of them. Yeah, I'll have to stream karaoke. Sure, Teresa. Sure, I'm gonna stream karaoke. I basically do karaoke on stream. Okay, I do way worse than karaoke. There's two streams, one shorts and one regular, both on the same channel. This Jolah Talks Politics. At halftime of my streams, I usually do my first half on one YouTube Shorts and then my second half on another because I take a break and get a snack. I watch a video to rest my voice for a second. So I'm going to, you call into the show on the Google Short number or the YouTube Shorts number. I am going to end the YouTube Shorts stream, okay? I'm going to direct you to the horizontal stream. And then in like 5 or 10 minutes, I'm going to open up a new YouTube Shorts stream for another hour and a half, okay? And then anyone that wants to call in can call in once I reopen the YouTube Shorts stream if you want to call in. Okay, guys? So, thank you. Thank you for all the donations, guys. Thank you so much. I have to update the goal, the stream goal. The stream goal is at $70 now, I think. Wait, no, it's at 60. The stream goal is at $60 now out of 125. Thank you. That's just that. It's an ambitious goal. Always got to be ambitious. All right, see you guys in the other stream. Here you go. Would you date a trans? 5 minutes. It's gonna be 5 minutes. Would you date a trans? Wow. I'm ending vertical. I am ending vertical. It's how the algorithm works, bro. It's not my choice. Go to the horizontal stream. There's 2 streams on the channel. Go to the horizontal. Yeah, shorts, go. Everyone from shorts, go to horizontal. Then I'll start a new shorts at 12:30, okay? In 6 minutes at 12:30. Thank you, guys. Diversity is not what we want. Ew. Okay. I'll be right back on shorts. Remember, 12:30, it'll be open again. But go to the horizontal for now. It should take you there automatically, too. Okay. Thank you. Will you take a couple free calls? I take mostly free calls. By far, mostly free calls. I only take paid calls if someone wants to call in before someone else. Okay? If someone wants to call in and skip the line, then they donate. But if you don't care, then they don't. I'm a never Trump guy. 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 I'm a never Trump guy.
This is Peter Thiel 2 weeks ago on his Rubin report. I don't know, is he funding Rubin report? Do we know?
He's on there quite a lot.
Interesting.
Maybe just friends hanging
listen,
out.
It's hard to make assumptions. It's just that I remember, because I'm old, when Dave Rubin was having all these libertarian guests on at one point. And I was like, wow, he must be reading somewhere, until we found out that he was being sponsored by, who was it? What was that? What's that university? What university is it that had a Koch-funded libertarian program or something? And he ultimately revealed that he was being funded by them, and all they did was give guest suggestions and pay him money.
Probably made some introductions too.
Oh yeah, but so one always wonders, particularly after he's not getting $4 or $5 million that was coming from the Russians.
From Edward Gregorian.
Yes, from Mr. Gregorian.
He has a Gregorian-shaped heart, shaped a hole in his heart that only Peter Thiel can fill with cash.
Here's Peter Thiel, who is increasingly looking like some type of like evil villain character from God knows where. It's very, very.
Yeah, the blood infusions aren't working.
Exactly.
From True Blood, maybe.
Extraordinary is the only party. The only group that still believes in the elite universities, in a way, are the conservative Republicans. And so if President Trump were here, he would tell you that he went to Penn, Ivy League school. Only very smart people, David, go to Penn. Yeah. And he talked about that for quite a while. And J.D. Vance went to Yale Law School. It's the top law school in the country. And, at the margins, other reasons we think he's good, but this is a credential we like about him.
He looks like an extra Nazi from Wolfenstein, if you ever played that game.
And any sort of elite credentialing has collapsed on the left. It was, Bill Clinton was a Rhodes Scholar, Yale Law. Hillary Clinton was Yale Law. Obama was Harvard Law. I think Kerry was Harvard undergrad. And there was some way, the Democratic Party used to be more elite. And then when Biden said he was a transitional candidate, it wasn't a transition. He was not going to have a sex change operation, but it was transitional from smart to dumb, from...
Also, any kind of oppression or xenophobia. Well, it is a genuine fear. Every community that has one culture or one race, so like suburban communities or rural communities, it could be poor or rich. If you're all white, you're gonna have similar political opinions, or at least like in terms of voting Trump. If you live in a multicultural area, then you're gonna be more likely to vote Democrat. So diversity is hard. Diversity is difficult, but also that's why diversity is a strength. Is because it's difficult, and it's really easy to scare people about things they don't understand. And for like gay people, that draws on people's insecurities. Like, bro, if you're gay and you're around me, like, are you gonna try to like have sex with me? That's what a lot of guys say, right? A lot of straight guys say that, but it's all insecurity there. So it's a mix of insecurity, anger, frustration, and a lot of propaganda too. So
elite to very non-elite. And then Kamala was even Howard was not Harvard. You couldn't even point this out. This is probably a racist thing to say. Or something. And then by the time you get to Walz, it's way worse. It's the
bro. He looks scary, dude. He looks like SpongeBob when he has no water in Sandy's tree dome.
You couldn't even.
I'm trying to get his eyes in the right place. Wait.
Probably a racist thing to say. And then by
look at him, bro. He looks like a skeleton. SpongeBob, Sandy, tree dome, no water. Freaking skeleton, bro. Need water. I need water. Do you see him? I need water. Remember.
When in doubt.
That's not.
Look at him. That's literally Peter Thiel. Can I see a close-up? That's Peter Thiel. That is Peter Thiel, bro. That's literally Peter Thiel. Look at that. That's crazy.
By the time you get to Walz, it's way worse.
You see that look right there?
The credentials are even dumber than Kamala's. There are no smart people left.
Yeah, bro. I wonder what Peter Thiel thinks about all the working class Trump voters.
This thing to say. And then by the time you get to Walz, it's way worse. The credentials are even dumber than Kamala's. There are no smart people left. And it's like a generational change.
Pause it for a second. This is crazy. This is bat crap crazy. This is the party of, incidentally, Peter Thiel backs the party of the working man.
They're not
and he's now complaining that the Democratic Party is not elitist enough. That is quite a pivot, probably from what Dave Rubin had said the day before. Where did Dave Rubin go to college?
Remember how elitist it was?
Where did this genius David Rubin go to college?
But remember how elitist it was that Obama put mustard on his hot dog? Don't you remember that?
Yes, but the Democratic Party has left those.
Dave Rubin only went to Binghamton. I mean, come on.
SUNY Binghamton?
Yeah, I went to NYU at least.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm sorry, but the Howard thing is something racist to say, because HBCUs, historically black colleges and universities, Howard is an incredible college. It's the probably in terms of like HBCUs, it's the most lauded one out there, and it was in part created because of segregation, because black people were excluded from the institutions that he's saying are so important now. But a year ago, Republicans were mocking Democrats for being East Coast liberals. One of the things I liked about this ticket, they didn't run in this way eventually, specifically after the convention, was that both Harris and Walz had never worked in the private sector, really. I mean, outside of her McDonald's thing, but they had both been, working for. Walz was he's a veteran, but Harris had been working for the government basically her entire life. Those are things that I think are kind of, I don't know, stuff I want in public servants.
Not a lot less Ivy League, I'll tell you that for damn sure.
And not folks that are in the revolving door of going to private and then going back into public so that they can serve.
No, now it's actually an issue electorally. If you want to run for some type of office, having a degree in many races will hurt you. If you talk about, like, there's literal doctors running in races, and they cannot use the title doctor because voters will hate them. It's a complete revolt against credentials and academia and all that kind of stuff.
Serve the private benefactors so that they can go back into private service, maybe with a bigger fat paycheck. These are the kinds of things that we don't want in our public officials.
But he means it to be elitist, and the truth is, I went to NYU, but I also went to Minnesota State University Moorhead, which is not quite as prestigious as Minnesota State University Mankato that Tim Walz went to. But as somebody who went to both, like, a state level school and NYU, which isn't quite Ivy League, the difference is vastly overstated. And the main difference is you're going to be around richer people, and you're going to pay a lot more to be there. But
the big benefit of Ivy League schools is you're around rich people. The big difference in education is you're around rich people. You probably have access to better research grants and all that kind of stuff. You're around rich people.
But in terms of the actual content,
New donation
that is
from the
not
Deep
the
State.
difference in pay that you're getting.
$10. Thanks for your work.
Thank you, Deep State. The Deep State just paid me $10 for my work. Thank you for the donation. I know who you are. I know who you are, Deep State. Thank you so much for the donation. Thank you. Thank you.
There's a lot of dumb people that have graduated from every one of these schools.
We'll take calls in a minute. I'm gonna watch this video. I'm eating a little snack real quick, but I'll take calls in when this video's over.
Absolute. The amount of lacrosse players that I knew in New Jersey that went to frickin' Ivy League schools, please. Well, some of the dumbest people I knew, but also, like,
True.
Sorry, go on, Sam.
Well,
Ivy League schools have some dumb people. I'm not gonna lie. They are a drain on society. I'm sorry. Ivy League schools are a drain on society. Wait a second. I'm kidding. That's a joke. Anyways, any school that puts, legacy donations over merit are bad. There's Ivy League schools that are great, okay? There's some Ivy Leagues that are great. There's some private schools in general that are good or bad. But yeah, any college that puts merit above all is good. And also merit including equity, because equity matters. Like me, I'm a poor boy. The rural poor boy. Let him go to school. Let him go to college, please.
Some of the dumbest people I knew, but also, like, sorry, go on, Sam.
Well, first of all, my understanding is that Trump went to Fordham University.
And transferred.
And then transferred with the help of a friend of his dad's.
Yes, but he won't release his transcript.
And he won't release his transcripts there, and multiple professors have said that Donald Trump was one of the dumbest goddamn students I ever had.
Well,
to be fair, that happened.
Well, let's say you're going to be a school teacher. A public 4-year will be make much more sense. A doctor, nurse, probably public 4-year will be fine. I'm trying to think. I mean, some publics are more prestigious than others. It does matter what departments are strong at what school, because some schools are really good at STEM, but they suck at humanities, or they're good at social work, but they suck at STEM. So it does depend on college and all that kind of stuff. But generally, Ivy League numbers are bolstered. Like, when it comes to outcomes after college and, like, earnings after college, a lot of Ivy League success numbers are predicated on, well, not even predicated, but the results that you see are because Ivy Leagues often have, more affluent, more connected students going there. So, of course, they're going to make more money when they leave. But in terms of value added, the best value added to students are probably community colleges in poor areas, just because they're already starting super poor, and also like mid-range universities, state schools, and smaller private schools when it comes to actual value added. So like, if you don't know what you're gonna do in college, and then Ivy League would be bad for. It depends.
Happens probably to a lot of rich kids that go to those schools. I mean, maybe Trump was superlative, but there's a lot of legacy cases. That's why you can't take went to Harvard or went to Penn as meritocratic at first value.
But that's what is. I'm sorry, I forgot what I was saying. What Matt is saying is important. That these are actually just universities that are for elite reproduction, as opposed to doing anything that's like academic or
brains,
challenge. And there's a high proportion now. There have been analyses of people in Harvard and these other, maybe like the big three, Yale, Princeton, or Stanford as well, that are going into finance as opposed to into all of these like other areas of.
Bro, that's so true. I know people that go for like astrophysics or like a bunch of other disciplines, and it doesn't matter because you're so well connected at schools that you just go into consulting. You go to be a consultant no matter what you went for, because you just meet rich people and you make connections, which is a skill. It is a skill to make connections for sure. But I'm just saying, it's not because they're in there like grinding their asses off, which you are, but I mean, they are. The suicide rate is actually notably higher at Ivy League schools versus other colleges, by the way. The suicide rate is actually a lot higher for certain Ivy League schools that have a lot of stress. I'm gonna take calls again very soon. I'm actually gonna start the YouTube Shorts stream again. If you want to go back to YouTube Shorts, it'll be up in 2 seconds. Thank you guys.
Of work, because say you're somebody whose family can't afford to pay the Harvard tuition or the Yale tuition, then you're much more likely to go into consulting or into being on Wall Street.
Isn't Harvard doing free tuition for students when their parents are making below a certain number with income? Is Harvard the one doing that policy?
Because you can pay off your student loans right away, and that's part of why they like these Ivy League institutions.
Let's see where he's going more with this.
Yeah.
Think, I think Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, they were talented people, very, in some meritocratic sense, were very impressive, are very impressive. And then, there's not one younger Democrat who's in that league. I know Gavin Newsom, University of Santa Clara. Shapiro was probably too smart to put on the ticket, but it's Georgetown
He was
Law
also
School.
too Jewish to put on the
well,
ticket.
maybe that too, but
Yeah.
Georgetown Law School is like number 14. So even Josh Shapiro
Pause it for a second.
is so.
Is Rubin's argument that Trump's administration is friendly, would have put somebody on the ticket who was Jewish? Like, there's been one Jew on the ticket, as far as I remember. It was on a Democratic ticket.
Lieberman?
Yes, sorry to say.
Unfortunately.
Go ahead.
So far below what you had with someone like Clinton or Obama, and so I think, and then I don't know how much one should read into it, but I'm tempted to say they don't want people who are smart. They don't, being the elite thing used to be, okay, you could think for yourself a little bit. You were part of this club where, behind closed doors, we could have a conversation and we could have somewhat dissenting views and we could hash things out. I don't think any of this goes on anymore. And
Pause it. Remember, this is the guy who 8 months ago, 10 months ago, in public said, we are at a time like the Weimar Republic in Germany, where people are sick of the classical liberal order and sick of communism. And we need to open the Overton window to what kind of leadership we have, like in that era. Literally calling for, or incidentally, the way that worked out was not good.
Nice. Someone said, let's go clean debate. Who's doing a clean debate here? Who's doing a clean debate? I don't know who's doing that.
He is of that Curtis Yarvin school. He believes we need a new monarch, that we should be led, the Straussian school, we should be led by elites. Mm-hmm. That this participatory democracy thing, we're done with that. And this is part of his project to espouse this. Now,
how many Trump voters know that J.D. Vance was picked by a super donor, Peter Thiel, who wants to eradicate poor people? And he thinks working class people are too stupid to make decisions, so therefore they should no longer be allowed to vote. And, someone said dismantling the DOE was good first step to more free thinking. Yeah, dude. And that's exactly what they want you to think. That's what they want you to think, bro. Good job. You're following the leader. That's what they want you to think.
I'd love to welcome the First Lady and Governor.
Train wreck in front of us. Yeah. Again. Tell us why. There in the ACA, and I did a 3-hour town hall.
Bro, I might as well watch this. He's
Call from.
Hello?
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 Hello? Hello?
Hall moderated by Republican Senator Dave Durenberger, and we stood on this stage and took all questions about the ACA. Now, the reason I had no problem doing this, and the reason that I am convinced they don't want to do these town halls, because I was proud to defend the right to expand health care. I was proud to stand on the ACA. I think
Peter Thiel's a total Nazi. Yeah, Peter Thiel is literally a Nazi. He literally is a Nazi, yeah.
Call from.
I mean, he said
Frank.
it. Hello.
All right, am I live?
You are alive. What's up?
All right, it's because I've been hearing the debates lately, whatever, and then you've been talking about like the whole like how people should like not have so much money, it should be distributed to like the people below us, right? As a business owner, I don't think that's actually necessary, but because as a business owner, like taxes does kill. Like you guys may seem like, oh, tax the rich, tax the billionaires, but what sucks about that is that how can I say it? The argument is that tax the rich when we're already getting taxed to oblivion. Get me? So, for example, Ford, right? Ford was in Michigan, all those places, whatever. So then what happened was that, like, these people get money, they get donated money, so then they go to Mexico, Canada, China, because my uncle right now, he's working for Ford in Mexico. So he is basically making $2 an hour or a day, basically. So then if you ever go to a Ford company, they sell those parts for like freaking like an arm and a leg, like literally. And that's why, like I was gonna say, like tax the rich doesn't always help, because at the end of the day, people that work in HVAC, people that work construction companies, do haircuts, like food industries, like they get taxed to oblivion because everybody else, all the wealthy, greedy billionaires, can go to another country and exploit kid labor just like they did in China with the Uyghurs and stuff. Get me?
Well, you can fix that issue too. You can, like, if they want to sell their products in America, they need to have part of their company in America to get taxed. There's a very easy fix to that. If billionaires are just going to own the entire world and we can't do anything for them, then we need to stop it. They're too powerful then.
Well, yeah.
And I don't want to redistribute all their money, by the way. I just want to provide basic services. America versus Europe provides bullshit to our people versus what other countries do. We have much more money in America. And I think it's a freedom issue too. I think it's a big issue with freedom. If Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Mark Zuckerberg all own $1 trillion combined, that's a threat to freedom. That's you know what Kanye West said. No one man should have all that power. You ever hear that?
Yeah, I understand that, but at the same time, it's like my neighbors actually in front of me, they actually work for SpaceX, and SpaceX is like literally down our backyard basically. So we see the rocket launches.
They got their money from taxpayer dollars, right? They got most of their funding from taxpayer dollars to keep their company afloat and to grow it.
But those subsidies they got from the government, which was Biden, not Trump.
Well, they got $20 billion, but still, they still got $20 billion in taxpayer subsidies.
And that's well, yeah, they got subsidies. It wasn't from the Trump administration. It was from the Biden administration.
I know. I'm not saying that. I'm still saying they benefit from owning the system.
Yeah, basically, you know. But it's like he's generating so much billions here because we have a place called Bronzo here where I'm at. It's strictly all Mexican. Like we're all Mexican here, and this area voted Trump like since 1882 or 1830s. That was the last time they voted Republican here in this area. But I'm saying, like, yes, Elon Musk has a lot of money. Yes, he has a lot of subsidies. But that's what I was getting to. Like, people don't understand is that trade also is the best way to go, because people always tell you, like, oh, go to college, get a good degree. But honestly, in reality, all those degrees that make the most monies are either nurses, electricians, plumbing, welding. Because my neighbors in front of me, like they were all welders. Like it's a family of like 5 brothers and a mom. They all work for SpaceX, and man, dude, the amount of freaking money they were making, all the trucks they were buying, all the cookouts they would do, it's like they're, how can I say it? They're enjoying the fruits of their labor, get me? But it's like people that would just want to work, like, how can I say it? Like in my area, it's all Mexican, like Democrats, and it's funny because all this thing about like, oh, Trump's gonna deport all y'all Mexicans, Trump's gonna do this, take away your welfare. Well, that actually scares all our people here in the valley. Get me? And so, like I was saying, like my parents own a restaurant here in the valley, and it's kind of sickening because like everybody that works for them, they're legal migrants. Like they came here legally, paying their dues and paying their taxes, going through the whole process, getting called to the courts, and then coming in. Get me? So it sucks for them because like every time the Democrats claim like, oh, like Trump's deporting everybody, Trump's deporting migrants, and that's all they hear, you know. So they're thinking like, oh shit, like I'm legal migrant, I'm gonna get deported. You get me? So then it sucks for us as a small business because like sometimes our workers don't show up because the Democrats keep hollering like, oh, Trump's taking away.
Trump is doing that though. He's deporting visa holders and legal green card holders. He is doing that. I mean, he might not have gotten there yet, but he is doing that.
These are overstayed visas. Like my mom has her permanent visa. Like my mom's came here
He's
at
deporting
14.
permanent. No, he's deporting permanent residents right now.
Well, that's why my
And
mom's
removing protective status.
My mom's because my parents, they came from Matamoros. They came here legally. They got all their paperwork. My mom came at 14, scrubbing toilet bowls, cleaning restaurants.
He just
getting
deported a family
mistreated.
that was here 30 years. He just deported a family that was here 30 years too. He deported
And
a little girl with brain cancer a week ago too.
Yeah, and ICE has been hitting a lot of areas here in my they've been hitting a lot of people here in my area. Get me? Like not too long ago down the street, they went into like a little not a small restaurant, but it's a pretty popular restaurant. And they raided that place, and they only got like one person because he had outstanding warrants because he was trafficking drugs in Mexico to like over here because they were looking for him. Get me? And that's the only thing that's happening here. And I live in an all dominant Mexican like area. So
They're doing a lot of bad stuff around the country. It's a big country though, so it might not hit you right away, but it's hitting a lot of people.
But it's the same thing with every law enforcement. Like I mean, yes, I respect law enforcement. Yes, they have some
No,
bad
they're
apples,
like
but
it's like for example the El Salvador flights they just sent over with Venezuelans. A lot of them were innocent, sold into slavery. So like they're doing things without due process that are very authoritarian. So I mean, it might not affect you yet, but it probably will eventually. Make sure you have some type of license on you or whatever, bro.
But that's kind of racist, don't you think? Like you're telling me like I'm gonna get deported because like all because
No, I'm
like,
saying
I'm
that
here
they
legally?
are going after people who are brown or black and questioning people because they look a certain way. So
Yeah,
like
but
I know someone that
but-
got stopped and they're a legal citizen, but they need to have they need to have their documentation on them now because ICE is just ripping people and detaining them, even if they're citizens. They're detaining
But check
U.S.
it out,
citizens
though.
right
Check
now.
it out. There's articles right now. I forgot what the article I got, but it says that Trump deported fewer illegals than Obama did. And I forgot where I saw it at, but it said that Obama to make Obama seem good, he sped up the processes to deport more illegals out of the country, which was like 3 million compared to Trump now. And then on top of that, if you want to go back to Democrats, also Bill Clinton also made like ICE to stop you.
Yeah,
and
Democrats deport people too. The idea
Yeah.
that white people in America have that Democrats don't deport people is just wrong. I mean, Democrats deport a lot of people, but Trump is doing unconstitutional shit right now. He's doing a lot of bad shit. But I mean, I don't know.
Doesn't everyone do the same thing? Obama did it too.
All right, someone else calling. He's not gonna. He talked for 90% of that conversation. I need some back and forth. I need some reciprocation here. Please drop a like on the stream. Please drop a like for the algorithm. Please drop a like. Please drop a like. Thank you. Please drop a like. No, you're not calling back. I don't want to talk. Someone else call. Someone else call. Here you go. Oh wait, are you here? Are you in the Discord, that guy? Oh, okay. When is that from? Is that? Oh, is that the guy from Gmail? Gmail? Howdy, do you hear me? Truck. Hey, yo, truck. Hey, yo, truck. Truck. He's not here anymore. Bro, we're missing callers. People calling in. Thank you for dropping a like. You know, I wish I could say the caller one if I knew what we were talking about. That would be nice.
Hey, how you doing, bro? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's up? Surprise, you're talking
Hey, dude,
to
I'm
DJ.
doing all right.
Yeah, how are you doing, man?
Let me get my audio off. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, you sound good.
All right, cool. I can hear you just fine now. Hey, I wanted to talk earlier about a previous caller talking about Ukraine, and he asked a good question about, why is it important for America's security to defend an ally? And I think most people in the conservative caucus, especially men, would consider themselves to be historians. We're living in a time right now that echoes the rise of the Third Reich. We got Putin invading other Russian-speaking countries. He set his sights on Poland, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and those are all NATO allies. And we would be NATO bound to answer their call for aid. Now that Donald Trump is in office, it's probably not going to be answered if he had anything to do with it, which I'm sure he does. But the money that we send over to him, like you hear the headlines, we give like 120 billion. Most of that is in used army surplus, like the actual equipment. We're not like mailing over $100 bills or like putting stuff in bank accounts. Like, yeah, we are, like, to a lesser extent, like maybe a couple billion to like help with them buy like food and
Well, here's the big issue though.
like,
when people hear $1 billion, they hear a huge number. But if we took every American, and we have progressive taxation in America, so this isn't true. But like over the past 3 years, it's the equivalent if every American sent like a couple large pizzas to Ukraine per year in terms of total funding that we give to Ukraine. Maybe 1 or 2 large pizzas per year. Like the billions of dollars, when you take all Americans, that's not really that much money when it comes to supporting an ally that's being invaded. It's not a huge like burden on America. And in general, like I said before, we have a progressive taxation system. So it's not like, every American is pitching in to do this. It's mostly the top 1%, of earners that pay most of the taxes. But yeah, even if it was every American paying an equal amount to support Ukraine, it'd be a pizza or two, like two pizza pies. And we could support Ukraine from Russia invading them. And people are here, that's a big number. Or like Doge is like, we saved $1 million by cutting veteran services. It's like you realize you just like saved 10 cents per person in America right now to cut veteran services.
Sure.
Like we're not actually saving money here.
And there's like real like no benefit for society to cut those services for veterans because they're going to be even more like disparaged or on the street or whatever you see.
Yeah, and here's the other argument too. I know this is a different conversation. Are you what political ideology are you?
I'd say I used to be a Republican. Then I used to be a Democrat, and now with the Democrats, with how they are right now, I'm pissed off at them. But I'm definitely not a Republican. I'm more of you could say a further left Democrat. Like I'm on Bernie and AOC, but where I'm at, nobody's really like I wouldn't vote for anybody in a general election that would remotely represent my views. But
Would
I
you
would
still vote
Democrat.
for the best candidate? Okay.
You're
Yeah,
right, I would
good.
still vote Democrat.
That's good. I can't stand when people say like, oh, I have these values, but I'm gonna vote in a way that allows my values to lose completely and, you know, kill our chance to even fight. But I was gonna say as well,
Right.
for all the Trumpers in chat too, like Medicaid and Medicare is the reason so many hospitals survive in rural areas, because it's hard to survive. That's why there's so many what are they called? Like medical deserts. I forget what they're actually called, but you know, people that don't have money in rural areas, there are not enough people to make sense for the profit motive to have hospitals there. So Medicaid and Medicare is a huge huge boost to local economies. Same with veteran services. Same with even basic social safety net programs for food and nutrition. These are all ways for people to have more money. Social Security. These are all stimulus to local economies because people now have money to spend in these local economies, and nurses that get money from taking care of patients who are on Medicaid and Medicare, they get jobs and money from serving their neighbors, and they can now spend it in the local economy as well. And I do think social services need to be framed in that way more often, and usually the right wing dominates the narratives and is able to capture the narratives, and we just bow down to whatever framing the right wing wants in these areas, because they just like angrily say something passionately, and then we have no choice but to be like, okay, well, DEI is not that good. It's like, no, like DEI is a policy we've had since the 60s because of people discriminating against black people, against their own religions, against especially like black and Jewish people. Like a good example of DEI for the chat, and I'm doing this largely because well, you donated to call in, but also
I did, yeah.
For people that want to call in and debate, like a DEI policy would be like in the military in World War II, Jewish people and black people served in different units. They were not allowed to serve with the whites, the straight whites. DEI would say that, everyone should have equal opportunity to, be working together. And people think it's like anti-white racism.
It seems common sense, right?
Yeah,
Like,
but they think it's anti-white
through...
racism. They think it's like quotas or affirmative action that targets white people or like
it's like
Asian
they're
people.
trying to, like, nobody would say to piggyback off that. Nobody would say, oh, because now that platoon has black people in it. Now I'm white. Say I'm white. Oh, now I can't join the army because they got black people in it. Like,
Yeah, the
nobody's
biggest
saying
issue
that.
is money. Yeah, if we're talking about like
Yeah,
meritocracy falling apart, it's connections really, and
I think part of that frustration that's certainly real from the MAGA movement, that they feel as if though jobs went overseas. I think that's 100% true. They don't have as much opportunity in the rural towns. I'm a truck driver. I go through rural towns a lot. A lot of places are shut down that have been there for seemingly empty for decades.
that's a difficult one. I know Bernie says that too, but I mean, I'll let you finish quick.
Well, yeah, thanks. The CEOs of these major corporations and the board of directors choose what to produce, where to produce, how to produce. They make the decisions to move across the ocean or into Mexico and deprive the American country that made that wealth possible of the opportunity to have their families have new jobs for their sons and daughters growing up in those rural towns and even the cities too.
Well,
but
okay,
I would say if you look at Jeremy Corbyn's plan over in the UK to say, and that is to say, if a company wants to move overseas, then the employees at that company, could be a factory, could be an auto plant, could be whatever, they would have the right of first refusal to purchase that factory from the employer, and they would have a state-backed loan to create a co-op for the jobs to stay in Hershey, Pennsylvania, or Akron, Ohio, or everywhere in the country who's at risk to losing their jobs overseas.
That's really difficult. Like from an economic perspective, like I know a lot about Appalachia, for example. Many Appalachian towns fell apart, and a lot of these rural towns, they literally just fell apart because they were like boom towns, like a coal boom town, maybe steel, maybe lumber, whatever it might be. So we have all these boom towns that only were propped up by one industry, and they became decently wealthy off one industry, but they were not good working conditions, but they were only surviving there because of one industry, whether it's coal or whatever it might be. We had railroads going everywhere in America. Now those are largely shut down. You go through these towns that are like completely like empty now. They all have rail through them, but those rails have not been active for 15, 20 years. It's a lot of just the free market moving and shifting to different energy sources, or they just like use the town for the profits. They ended up leaving, and no real infrastructure was ever built for those towns, especially Appalachia and all those towns, because, you know, there was never that investment from the community. There was never that investment from the businesses. People moved there for the coal jobs, and the coal jobs left because of real economic reasons, not just because of trade deals. But I would also say, I don't really think the co-op model would work. That's a longer conversation, though. But the big thing for trade deals is that the average wealth for working class people in America went up from trade deals. I know people are mad about manufacturing and like manufacturing jobs leaving, but like the wage growth under Biden, for example, was the highest of any president since like the 70s for the working class. And the trade deals did make America richer. It made Americans more rich as well. But it made that we became more of a service-based economy than a manufacturing-based economy. But no one really yearns for the mines. So it's a complicated conversation. I know Bernie says that as well, but it's very complicated. And my big thing is the winners and losers does kind of suck, because it sucks if they outsource jobs. America gets richer, but if America gets richer in terms of total GDP, a lot of the production, like the benefit from going overseas, helped everyone in America. But
no, that's not true.
It did help America, but the benefits were seen by the people who own the companies. No, but those people...
It helped the wealthy CEOs.
Yeah, at any point in time. So, like, we could have said that 150 years ago, the people that were you could say the people lost their jobs because they were the canary in the coal mine. You could say they lost their jobs too, but society still got better. So there is reshuffling. It does suck. The big thing is making sure we have like actual programs to support people that lose their jobs, and making sure that people get the share in the benefits of the trade deals. And what happened is it just furthered income inequality, and people just got mad about that because they have to move. They lost their jobs. They have to move to a different state, and they also did not get a paycheck from the savings that the company had when they sold the labor to be overseas now, or whatever it might be. So I mean, it's very complicated, though.
To be fair about, they no longer yearn for the mines. That's true. I mean, I wouldn't want to work in a coal mine, but I'm more Midwestern. I'm Iowa, Illinois. I live right near the Belvedere Assembly Plant. It caught a lot of attention this political season. It shut down, even though it was a Teamster union contract with Stellantis, formerly Chrysler, to reopen that plant. And thousands of people counted on that plant being reopened up and rehiring those people. If you were to take a bottom-down structure such as Stellantis at that auto facility, you could say the wealthiest CEO in the car manufacturer business is the CEO of Stellantis. Now, if you take all that wealth and divide it amongst the workers themselves that they're generating for the company, you wouldn't have to work in quote unquote the mine 12 hours a day to make a good living. You could work on it like maybe 4 or 5 or 6, or maybe one day you want to work at 10 because you're a co-op. You can make your own rules. And with a co-op, you could hire your own manager. The manager would be your employee.
So you could also say that co-ops are extremely slow moving, and it's hard to hire, or it's hard to have consensus in a democratic system, and you say that company would die.
Your employees.
Yeah, but they do that as well. But in a competitive industry that's moving very quickly and relies on huge supply chains, such as manufacturing or whatever it might be, it's very difficult to manage a co-op. My brain is fracturing at this point of the night. If you're watching the stream, please drop a like and subscribe. I actually want to give I know DJ, are you here, DJ? I want to see if you have a good question to ask for this, because my brain is toasted right now. I'm almost done with my stream, but DJ is a very intelligent young lad. So
don't fucking hype me up. Well, I guess, yeah. I mean, one question with co-ops is how they scale, like Jolah was asking. How do you make a a huge corporation into a cooperative, or under the system you're proposing, is every company just like a small business now?
Not necessarily. You could look at Mondragon Corporation in Spain, in the Basque region. It's the 8th largest corporation in Spain. Granted,
Mondragon's not.
it's decades old.
I mean, Mondragon also, to my knowledge, is not it's not directly democratic. There's still a hierarchical system. So
Right.
it's a
You could say
federation
it's
of
a
different
representative
cooperatives that,
democracy. Right.
but
You would.
like,
I'm not really
insofar
saying
as we need.
like.
Go ahead.
I'm more so saying, wouldn't the rural communities that lost out on their jobs in the 90s under NAFTA, don't you think they would have rather have had a choice to keep their jobs and be their own boss than to lose it outright? And they could have the choice to self-manage. And I know that most of the people, like for instance, the Maytag in Iowa, like that used to be a cultural a cultural, you know, milestone. I can't really think right now as far as the right word, but now it's the Amana colonies is kind of like a dead zone compared to what it used to be, because the Maytag facility moved off to China.
Self-management seems like a really desirable thing until you try it with a firm that requires an economy of scale in order to be productive and to have competitive prices, and then it doesn't work. So, you know, I agree. People are understandably enticed by the idea of workplace democracy, or, you know, control over one's own workplace in a less hierarchized manner. But I mean, you see it with democracy. Part of the reason that America does representative democracy is because it's supposed to make change only if there's enough consensus about the fact that that should be effectuated. So, you know, if you have like a 50-50 split, or even a 55-45 split in America about a
or
particular
let's
issue,
say,
it's like we're not going to get anything done. And that's fine for a democracy. I mean, it sucks for a democracy, but it's preferable to a monarchy, because we don't want to see people,
right.
you know, oppress and subjugate each other en masse. But like, a company needs to be able to make the types of efficient,
quick
quick
right.
decisions that I don't think a co-op would be able to make.
And the middle position would be like the compromise position, by the way, would be, for example, some social democracies do where it's not just the corporate board that votes on the CEO. Instead of having a co-op where everyone votes on decisions, they could vote on who the CEO is going to be, and that person could be like the executive branch of that company, obviously, and they can make quick decisions in the same way that our government is structured. And then the board would be like a Supreme Court for the company. You'd have like 3 branches to your corporate structure. So that's like a middle ground between a co-op and what a regular business would be structured as.
Yeah, and if you don't mind me building off that, you could also have, you know, workers representing your labor union on the board of directors that have a serious amount of power in decision making. They could they might have like a veto power if all of them agree that that's a bad deal. It's going to be a bad deal for workers. Whatever change is going to happen.
Yeah, so you're not like super tied. You're not super tied to like we need co-op. You just want like a better something that you think can represent workers better. I guess one of my most interesting questions to answer, and this is a big discussion as well with like Trump and also Bernie and trade deals, is according to most economic indicators, like trade deals did improve jobs and wages and like life in America. And the jobs we lost in America were not exactly high-paying jobs. I mean, there's a reason they were able to outsource them so easily, and there's a reason they can outsource them, get cheap labor, and then they could pay for production, shipping costs, and have it displayed in America after the whole supply chain, and still make far more money by outsourcing it.
Yeah.
And in America, it'd be costing a lot more, and like Americans right now make higher wages as a result of any of these deals, and it makes, you know, American companies be able to, I mean, farmers get the benefit from free trade as well. Our American farmers have grown because of being able to trade with other countries. So the big question in general is, did these trade deals benefit America? And if it did benefit America, did working class people see enough of those benefits? Did they see some benefits, and like were they hurt overall by it? Because I don't think anyone's mad about losing coal mining jobs or whatever.
No, and nobody's
Certain kinds of
complaining
coal mining,
about
except
cheap
it's organic.
prices in Walmart either. However, at a long-term viewpoint, you know, I don't really care if China manufactures all of the rubber ducks that's sold in America, right? I do care if all of the medicine that we're prescribed is made overseas. I think to your big question, did the American public see enough benefits? I'd say no. Short answer, compared to the wealthy elite, which saw the most amount of benefit. I can talk about how the income disparity in this country has grown to levels I don't think has ever been seen before in human history. 3 people own as much wealth as the bottom 50%. The top 10% own 90% of all the wealth. And you could say, well, some of that's tied up in the stock markets
The
and
majority
in
of
the
it is not
401k.
liquidated.
Right. However, I mean, I'm sure you know, like, even though the CEO of, you know, pick whatever Fortune 500 company has the majority of his wealth in stocks, and it's not liquidated, you know that he can get a bank loan from a bank at a near zero interest rate, which, oh, by the way, is also tax free, and you can get that loan to pay off the other loan that he's got, because guess what? The company he's at is giving him more stocks as part of his compensation instead of income. Like, let's say his income, like on his W-2, is like $1 million, but if you look at his total compensation package, it'll be more like $100 million because of all the stocks that he receives. And mind you, with those stocks, he's on the board that votes to see who's going to get the dividends. Is it going to be us at 40 cents per share, or is it going to be 15? Well, what about you, Billy? You need some money? Should we bump it up to 55 cents per share? All right, 55 cents per share for everybody. Like, they get millions of dollars at a point at which is barely taxed, if at all, and they can buy literally the president of the United States for nearly $300 million.
That's a whole nother topic. I just want to respond to someone in the chat really quick. Like, someone in the chat said something about like stripping the country of an entire industry and leaving towns devastated. Now, the big thing is like ending child labor devastated towns industries, like ending slavery devastated towns industries, adding automation devastated towns industries, having modern innovation that led to supply chains and supply lines, and Ford Motor being able to make the first ever like more innovative way to make cars lessened jobs. The question is not did these jobs change, it's did the entire country get better, or is the entire world better, and who benefit and who lost. And you could argue the towns in Appalachia that lost all these jobs, we're going to lose them regardless, especially because coal sucks. Coal produces barely any energy. It's extremely dangerous, and most of these towns were built off of coal.
Causes asthma, cancer, yeah.
Yeah, not even just, yeah, but even other than pollution, like coal by far, I think coal causes like 200 times more deaths than oil. Like, coal is freaking insanely deadly, and it's not even good. It's not even good for all that kind of stuff. When it comes to the like stock buybacks and stuff, it's not super straightforward. It's not as straightforward as that, but you can argue, like, for example, when Trump did those tax cuts in 2017, if companies are opting to spend a majority of the tax cuts on buybacks, or like versus investing them in their own businesses, you can say, okay, well, you know, on the Laffer curve that they like to use, they lowered the taxes too much at that point. Like, if they did not need the extra tax cuts to be more productive and hire more workers and increase wages, if they're going to use it for reinvesting purposes or bolstering their stock or whatever it might be, then we could say, okay, this tax policy sucks. But I can't even blame corporations for the bad policies the government does, including with trade deals. The issue, if automation takes over society and leaves all of us jobless, we need to blame. People need to say, like, okay, companies made this decision on purpose, and then also, like, the society did not formulate in a way that can help us survive the economic turbulence and these different. We just had a whole economic revolution, or crap, it's not revolution. Crap, what are they called? Whatever. Yeah, I don't even know. Is it revolution? Is it like industrial revolution? I don't even know what the words anymore.
Well, if I could bring automation, you raised the point that it did take away jobs, and that is what happened. But if you also look at a different scenario, so let's say you're at let's keep it back with the Stellantis plant. Say you bring in this new technology of automation. Hey, I used to need 100 workers working 8 hours a day to make these cars. Now I only need, well, that would be 800 hours a day. So now I only need 400 hours of work a day to make the same amount of cars. You could lay off half of your employees, or you could keep the same amount of employees and make them come in from half the amount of time and pay the same wage rate.
Well, yeah, European countries are experimenting with the 4-day work weeks for this exact reason. Things are becoming more productive, and workers should be able to share, like, in the increased productivity, even if all of society should be able to share in some type of productivity. Like, if we're gonna automate away jobs at some point, if we were able to supply enough energy for it, I mean, at some point we'd have to deal with some type of way to sustain a large part of the population with probably more than a basic welfare state. I would probably assume if we actually do displace a lot of jobs.
Under my scenario, everybody would still be working. And, you would need
really
a welfare
hard, though,
state.
because that's twice the. Because now they're paying for the automation, they're paying for double the workforce that they don't need. It just what were you gonna say? Let me see DJ. DJ is a nice centrist liberal, so DJ can give us a nice little take on it.
Okay.
No, I mean, the thing with automation is that, like, the cost of production decreases quite a bit, and then in order to keep your prices competitive, you have to lower them because other companies have access to the same types of automation. So if you're keeping your prices high because you want to increase your profit margins, other companies are going to take advantage of that. They're going to lower prices a little bit. Going to get a lot more sales. They're going to be better off. So, like, naturally, if the cost of labor goes down, the price of goods and services goes down with them, which is a good thing. And crowding out unqualified jobs, the types of jobs, by the way, that, like, destroy your body and soul, that are comprised of, like, repetitive, rote, menial labor that kill you in your mid-50s. Crowding that type of labor out, I'm okay with. If getting a job means 100%. You have to, like, be more educated and, have some sort of specialty, that's probably inevitably going to make your job more fulfilling and less horrible for you physically.
Oh, I'm muted. We just hit 24,000 subscribers, by the way. 24,000 subscribers. 24,000 subscribers, guys. 24,000 subscribers. Thank you. Please drop a like and subscribe, by the way. I'm done taking calls for tonight, so I'm just hanging out now. We're hanging out in Discord. Join Discord
really sure
if you want to join the call.
Where to go from
join
that?
Discord,
I think there's a large part of agreement on, automation is not necessarily a bad thing. I think in the hands
After
of
this
the
conversation.
bosses and in the CEOs, it's used for their benefit and for our detriment.
Here's the big question. Here's the overall question, though. What is the mechanism if every company is able to increase their productivity and workers are more productive from automation and all this kind of stuff? How do we? What mechanism can we use if the entire industry is going to be doing this everywhere? What mechanism can we use so all of society shares? All of society can share in the new benefits of technology, because it seems like with where we're currently heading with, like, Elon Musk and the Peter Thiel gang that are insane and they want us to be biofuel, basically. it seems like they're leaning towards a society where they don't need human capital as much, where they have all the wealth and they make all the decisions through dictatorships. And we obviously want a future where if we have automation, that it makes us have easier lives. You know, it makes, if we're able to get near any type of away from scarcity, away from having to work stressful lives, and be able to accomplish better things in society, we want to do that. But what can be the mechanism on the way so we're not losing the benefit of automation, and we're not losing out on the power in society from having less money overall? But like,
Right.
I don't know if it's a tax mechanism, or if it's a redistributive system, or if it's some type of social safety net, or I don't know. Yeah,
I think you'd have to pull quite many levers. I don't think there's one magic pill to solve that. I think increasing the tax rate, the marginal tax rate. I know that 400. I don't know what the cap is on the top income tax bracket. I think it's like 20 something, and I think that dollar amount is like $500,000 maybe. Like, we can make a couple more tax brackets.
But remember, this
and
is wealth,
raise-
though. This is wealth and in companies, and they're producing value, and it's
Yeah.
expected earnings in the
Well-
future with the investments they get. So it's not going to be converted into income, and even if it is, it's going to be capital gains.
Right.
So that's the
Okay. Yeah. Okay, that's a great point.
And DJ
one
is
thing
a genius.
too.
So
No, shut the. I don't like the
One thing
glazing.
too. One thing that I think that could be taxed is stock buybacks. It used to be a crime back in the 70s. It used to be called stock manipulation. If a company wants to buy back its own stocks, the U.S. government gets 50% of all those stocks as a form of a tax. It could keep that in treasury, collect dividends, sell it whenever it wants. I think that's a way for the government to come in, access the free market, and pay off our national debt, do whatever program that we can. That's for corporations. Another thing that we can do is tax political contributions. Like the average Joe, like, probably doesn't spend more than $1,000 in any political. Like, I'd be surprised if it was like even 100. We can tax political contributions after $1,000. The tax will kick in at 25%. If you're spending big bucks like 10,000, after the 10,000 mark, you'll get taxed 30%. If you want to.
is that legal?
Yeah, I don't know
I
if
never
you
heard. I
wanna-
never heard that concept before. Is that something that's been done somewhere, or is that like legal? I feel like that run into issues.
I'm
with
not
the,
trying to make. I probably heard it somewhere, but I can't
wonder if any
remember
countries
where.
do something like that. I'm really curious now, because I know Trump said they want to tax freaking endowments to colleges and nonprofits and stuff. So I don't know if anything is against the rules anymore. But
And let's say, I don't know, hypothetically, somebody wants to spend over $270 million on a presidential campaign. Maybe we can tax after 10 million 90%. Because if the rich and the powerful want to own government, the least they can do is pay down the debt which they incur by telling their Congress people to spend this, tax that, put out the treasury notes to finance the debt, which they buy. It's just, if you look at how Republicans are always so concerned about the national debt, but they do everything in their power to make sure our treasury note is devalued. I think our credit rating on the treasury note hasn't recovered from I think we're maybe in the B's. It used to be AAA for the longest time. And now our treasury
I
note
just saw
is
someone
deemed
donated.
less valuable because
Someone
of all the
donated
shenanigans
$50,
they do with
$58,
shutting down the government
$58.76.
at the behest
Wait,
of the
60.
corporate elite.
60. Thank
So they
you.
can get a fatter return.
Thank you, initials ML. Thank
on
you.
their
You just
$10
made my
million
night. Thank you.
bonds that they buy from
You just
the
completed the goal, basically.
It's
Thank you. Yeah, I'm
I think
getting off
another
soon. We're just hanging out
tax
right now, but
that
thank
a lot
you.
of people could get behind would be
Thank you, initials ML. I'll say thank you on there too. Thank you for the Venmo. Thank you. Thank you.
loans that have
Really appreciate it.
stocks as a the Collateral. Trevor Noah
Thank
did a great
you. That's so nice of you.
short about how he explained how these billionaires have the money, use the financial institutions to their advantage to get away tax-free, to basically finance anything they want. They can buy Twitter, they can buy whatever company, your house down the street. These what do you call Vanguard, BlackRock, all these multi-billion-dollar, trillion-dollar investing firms have literally run out of things to invest in that they deem valuable, to buy like mom and pop homes that have been like in the family.
Okay, I do want to hear DJ's response to all this, but I also want to say really quick that my solution would be, which we did in the first Gilded Age, and I'd say we're probably definitely in the second Gilded Age right now. Just in terms of inequality and the leadership that we see in society, a more fascist version of it than the first time around. I'd probably guess, and maybe. But I would say, I mean, versus when Teddy Roosevelt took office, like my big approach right now would be hardcore trust busting, monopoly busting. I think there's a core principle of American capitalism, even just to have the markets function normally. So I would say trust busting in all these companies is definitely needed. For especially for the big tech companies. I just hate seeing Facebook own Snapchat and Instagram and WhatsApp. It's just like ridiculous what companies, and that probably should not have, like buying WhatsApp should not have even been legal. It's insane. Like vertical versus horizontal integration or monopolization, whatever the terms mean. I'm just a stupid person on YouTube. Don't trust anything I say. I'm literally an idiot. I have a fake degree from a fake college. I'm really stupid. College degrees are fake. Don't listen to anything I say. Anyways, DJ, what do you have to say?
I'll be honest, I'm playing a new Minecraft mod pack. I'm not listening with
Hell yeah.
undivided attention. I mean, my general idea on campaign finance is, I just have a fundamentally different view of it than the majority of people on the left and the right. So, but don't really need to get into that at this point.
Tell us. I want to know. I gotta know. Are you against like limiting donations?
We've talked about it, Jolah.
I don't. Hey, I talked to a lot of people named DJ in Discord.
Damn. Am I not special to you?
Nope.
I think in order for my plan to work, it would have to be from a centralized, like it would have to come from a centralized financial institution that you can easily audit. Let's say your favorite politician gets an audit, and if they don't have any contributions coming from it, it would be like a fraud type. It would be illegal.
Someone said, would you compare it to the Luca trade? Yeah, the Luca trade is the same as WhatsApp. I'm gonna sorry, 1 second. I'm gonna tell the stream. Like I said, if you guys want to hop in Discord and chat, we're just kind of simmering down the conversation right now.
About Ukraine.
Yeah, there's 1 second. Please drop a like on the stream, hit subscribe, everyone. Thank you for all the amazing donations. When I have the goal on stream, it's just an aspirational goal for that night. So you guys are awesome. Thank you for supporting the stream so hard and so aggressively. Hopefully the channel keeps on growing. I'll put work into. I've been uploading more videos that don't get any views, but that'll change maybe someday. But thank you guys so much for all the interaction on the stream. Thank you guys for joining me tonight. I'll be back on tomorrow around the same time, 9 p.m., 10 p.m. Eastern time. A little bit late like usual. But yeah, I'll be on tomorrow, Sunday. Sundays are usually fun too. Weekend streams are the best, but thank you guys for joining me. All that kind of stuff. Join Discord if you want to join the conversation. We usually hang out after in the community section in Discord. But yeah, you say you want to say one more thing on Ukraine.
Yeah, I think it's important for America to stand by its newer friends, because some of our older friends are moving towards China and the BRICS. If you look at NATO, to bring up the idiocy that is Donald Trump, saying that he wants to take Greenland because he wants to protect it from China. Greenland is part of Denmark, which is part of NATO. So if anybody attacks Greenland, not only would Greenland be protected by America, but all the other 27 countries to help fight back against China. It's just mind-boggling how stupid and how proudly stupid he is.
Hell yeah.
That he wants to take every single good thing that he's been giving and just then throw it away. Like he could be Ukraine's like best friend. They could be the new Kuwait. You know, they could be, you know, pick who you want. Japan. Like,
well,
I think making new friends doesn't have to be like a political battle. I think it could be just common sense.
Well, imagine
If
telling
your country's invaded, yeah.
I was gonna say, imagine telling like Ronald Reagan or any U.S. president in the past 80 years that we had a chance to protect an ally that we signed a deal with, okay, and we denuclearized them, and we got them to give up their nukes for, you know, agreement with Russia and America that Ukraine would not have nukes because they had the nuclear stockpile after Soviet Union fell apart. Imagine telling them we could do a morally correct option that's also something that's morally correct, that fits humanitarian concerns, that geopolitically makes sense. We can weaken Russia without having any troops on the ground or any boots on the ground or anything American near it other than just like basic aid, very basic minor aid. I know Americans think it's a lot of money. It's really not. Imagine telling any American president that we could have done so much damage to Russia by helping a country defend itself. Nothing about Ukraine is a negative at all. Like as far as like helping foreign countries, like a country defend themselves, it's not. We're not policing the world. We're not going into the Middle East. We're not going into countries. We're literally defending a country from an invasion from Russia. Everything lined up to make this the most easy hole-in-one strike right down the middle, aid decision ever. But the Russian propaganda won. Thank you for Edward. Thank you so much for the $5. Thank you so much for the $5. The stream is ending soon, but thank you so much for the last donation.
Everything that you said makes perfect sense.
Hey, Kyle, what's up?
But
Kyle?
you forgot one thing.
Okay, what was
the
one thing?
Democrats did it, so that means we need to shit on it.
That's true. We have to own the libs, bro. We got to own the libs no matter what they do. Kyle's a liberal.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that if we could figure out a way to hook up a turbine to McCarthy and Reagan, we'd have infinite energy with as much spinning as they're doing in their graves.
It was really nice talking to you. Thank you for having me on so long, dude.
For real,
I appreciate
the turbine, that we would be generating. Yeah, we'd be able to fly to Mars on that. That's crazy. Yeah, thank you for calling in.
When's the last time we had an argument with someone further left?
Last night with the literal Russian supporter. Or
what?
Sock-Tua.
Wait, Sock called in?
Oh, you mean like on the actual stream?
Yeah,
on the stream. No, I thought you meant just in general. On stream, that one guy called in. Remember Infrared Haas?
Wait, you talked to him?
Well, I did talk to him a few years ago. I talked to him like 4 years ago. But his fan called in last night. A fan of his called in last night and started talking about Fury. So yeah, that did happen. But as far as like actual discussion with someone who just like leans social democrat or like market socialist, this is definitely the furthest left as far as like a reasonable person goes, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if MAGA communism is leftist ideology.
National socialism. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching. Like I said, we'll be back tomorrow. Join the Discord, come chat, drop a like, all that kind of stuff. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining us. We had DJ in here, one of our Discord mods, which is the highest position in the world. We've tonight with Kyle and also Trucker Dude. Trucker Dude paid money to talk to you guys. So say thank you to Trucker Dude, and thank you for blessing us with your perspective, Trucker.
Yeah, stick around.
Stick around, guys, or else you'll become trans overnight.
Yep.
Oh, all right. Yeah, thank you, mods. Thank you, Cam. Thank you, channel members. All right, see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one. Someone said MAGA forever. Ew, gay. Good night.